$50,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning?
RV wins!
Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast?
RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione, tracking a very warm forecast as we head through the rest of today with a high temperature in the upper 80s this afternoon. We'll go for partly to mostly cloudy skies, and then we heat up even more as we head through the next couple days.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 1,424 points to 40,800. Market update brought to you by Lufthansa. Lufthansa is excited to take off from Raleigh Durham International Airport, connecting you to destinations like Germany, Italy, India, and beyond. Say yes to incredible journeys. Book today at Lufthansa.com.
Chikrin now, chance to score! Walker sends it up front. Second chance, they score! Jackson Blake looking. Jarvis, he scores! Roslovic feathers it. Stankovic scores! He's winning clean. Blake on the backhand, and he scores! Chatfield swings down McMichael. Brute strength. He'll get the takedown.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Canes smoked Washington last night and then smoked them again. We're going to treat it as two entities. There was the hockey game, and there was the combat sports team match that took place later on. We're going to treat it as two. We're going to discuss both here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. Let's start talking about the hockey side of things. Canes did what they were supposed to do last night. Smoked the Caps. First of all, let's get the nuts and bolts out of the way. Canes clinched the postseason for the 7th consecutive year. That's impressive. I think it's expected, but that's impressive. Right? It's one of those things that I think you look back on years into the future and you're proud of, even if right now it's like, cool, on to the next. Also, the Canes are now 75-5 in regular season games when Seth Jarvis scores a goal. So that continued. He is the definition of a good omen. When Seth Jarvis scores, heck, take whoever you want off the ice, you're going to win. Now, 5-1 victory for the Canes. They looked like what they should look like, which is a talented, fresh contender coming off multiple days rest that is starting to peak or is peaking at the right time versus an older team with some goalie issues on the second night of a back-to-back on the road. Washington is still one of the best teams in the league. We're talking the hockey side. They're still one of the best teams in the league, but Carolina did what contenders do to tired opponents in their home arena, beat them badly. And that's not to take anything away from what the Canes did, because that's all good. Like that's what you should do. You get credit for doing what you should do. There's teams all across the league that don't do the expected. So shout out to the Canes, and we could point to a lot of good things. Freddie was really good in net, particularly early on, which helped the momentum get rolling and everything get started. Let's actually hear from Rod in the clip we have here. Rod Brindamore on Freddie being great at the beginning and keeping the Caps out of it.
He was really good. There was a couple, they got in alone a couple times and made, good saves at the right time. I think that to me is what it's all about, right? Like if they get the first one or they get one to tie it up, it's just a different feel. And he was solid early, and that's what you have to have.
It's what you have to have. I completely agree, and Freddie is starting to have some of the cumulative stats that are really. It was won his last 7 starts, his last 8 he's allowed 2 goals or less. There's some really good consistency things coming out of Freddie. That's fantastic. The lid is off the net for Jackson Blake. Turns out he needed 1 goal that he didn't have to shoot. And now all of a sudden it's all good, right? A couple games ago he got the credit for the own goal. Now he's finding the net with skill and accuracy. The power play scored 3 goals last night. 3. There was a point in time where it would have taken better part of a month to get 3 goals on a power play.
First time they've had multiple power play goals since December 7th. First time they've had 3 power play goals in a game since Halloween when they beat Boston 8-2. Put that into perspective. It's about to be Easter.
Halloween feels like a long time ago.
It's because it was a long time ago.
Power play scored 3 goals. Let's hear from Jarvis on why the power play has been clicking recently. Obviously, Jarvis a part of that unit.
Told you before, the power play's kind of hot right now, so we're starting to figure it out a little bit more. I think we've all been kind of in the same spots now for a little while, so we're all getting comfortable with each other, knowing when to give outs, and it's nice to see we're scoring in different ways on the power play.
They are scoring in different ways. For a while there, the power play was catching on, but it really was just Taylor Hall catching on. Now it's starting to diversify a bit, although he did have another power play point last night, so shout out to Taylor Hall. Get the extension done. We could go on, right? Stankoven's goal, beautiful, being set up beautifully by Roslovic, who felt like needed a moment like that. Like there was a lot of good from the actual tangible like stats and highlights of last night's game for the Canes. But from a hockey perspective, the thing that I like the most is they rose to the challenge in a super intense environment. We mentioned it yesterday before the show, so I have no problem calling it, before the game on the show yesterday, so I have no problem calling it back now. That was kind of, I'd say, you're never going to completely simulate a playoff environment in hockey. Playoff hockey is something special. But that was pretty much nearly as close as you can get in a regular season game as far as just intensity, and every time you had the puck you were being challenged and both teams were being physical and all of those things. And the Canes obviously rose to the challenge. When there were turnovers that led to breakaways, Freddie was there to bail them out. When there were shots to be made, they made them. When you got the opportunity for a power play, for the first time in a long time, it wasn't almost like existential dread watching it, right? Where you're going like, I just hope that this isn't awful. There was actually like, oh, good, you have the advantage. Oh, yes, this is going to be fun. They rose to the challenge in an intense environment. And there are some teams, some players, and if you could quantify it, if you could measure it, you'd be the best GM in the history of sports. There are just some units that the bigger the moment, the better they are. And I'm not saying that was proven last night. I'm not saying it's been proven this season, but I am more optimistic about the Canes rising to the moment now than I was this time yesterday. That's worth something, right? And then, There really is. I really do consider it like two separate sporting events. There was the hockey, in which case they dominated, and there was the third event, which was like, the refs deciding that they wanted to give Ovechkin a 5-on-3 to go get his, which
right.
I think was kind of perfect. Get up 4-0. See Ovechkin, get a small part of history on his way to doing some things and still get a dominant victory. If the third period didn't go the way the third period went, that would have been like kind of a perfect night, right? You get your dominant victory. Canes get to stamp it. You get the little mental edge. And also, hey, you know what? When Ovechkin breaks the record, you get to say you saw a little tiny piece of greatness. Not the whole thing, but just a little bit of history. It felt good. Now, if I'm Burns, I'm not super stoked that they called a little phantom penalty on him, but there was a lot going on there. There was a lot of moving parts, and everything was coming up Canes. And then, to quote the Canes Twitter, not my words, the official Canes Twitter account, we witnessed an A+ hissy fit.
Yeah, we did.
From the Washington Capitals.
We did.
Which then is essentially the opening bell to the second sporting event of the night that took place in the Lenovo Center, which went from a hockey game to a team-on-team UFC fight, to a brawl with tag team partners. And we'll talk about that in a second. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump to the next sporting event in the Lenovo Center last night, Dennis Cox has some info he'd like to pass along to you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. It's that time. It's that time of year of winning, time of year to think about what your future might look like after you do some winning. Part of that is winning a motorcycle. That's right, a motorcycle. And this one is special. It's a custom Caniacs motorcycle because Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes, they're teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a motorcycle. But this year it's special. It's custom built, fully custom painted like in years past, but it is one of one. A custom-built motorcycle that can be yours if you go to caniacsbike.com. Simple, that's where you enter. You go to caniacsbike.com. Takes less than a minute to register. You'll see pictures of the bike right there. It's absolutely gorgeous. But the reason why I say the time is now is because you have until Sunday, April 6th, to register. April 6th, this Sunday, is your deadline to register. Don't wait any longer, folks. Go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com. Pull up to a game on that bike, especially one in the postseason. You'll be ready to rock, I can tell you that. Caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. How do you feel about all the penalty minutes, the fighting, the brawls, the hip toss, whatever you want to call it, that took place last night between the Caps and the Canes? We'll dissect the fight next.
We're in the middle of the madness.
Out for a Knipple 3. Give it to him.
From the first four to the national championship.
Maluach, sent that one to New York City.
All the hoops action will be heard here.
For the Blue Devils, the Final Four is calling yet again.
The road to San Antonio is driven by WakeMed, Roofworks, Metro Elevator, and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
You know what you deserve? The joy of a remote start. SoundStation and Security can install remote start systems in your car. Start your car from inside your house while you eat breakfast, and it's all toasty warm by the time you get inside. Or on those hot summer days that are sure to come, start your car and get the air conditioning running so you don't sweat. A remote start system is an awesome treat, and you can get it at SoundStation and Security with 2 locations in downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Disturbed. Live. The 25th anniversary of the 5-time platinum album, The Sickness. 2 sets, 1 show, The Sickness in its entirety, and greatest hits with special guests, Daughtry, and nothing more. April 14th, Lenovo Center, Raleigh. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Disturbed. Live.
What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you could choose one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. With big bank reliability and small bank resolve, you get 160 years of financial strength and stability and an enduring commitment to personal service. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank. Visit firsthorizon.com/getitall.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/score. Ethos.com/score.
Sample Rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Chatfield being challenged behind the play, and Chatfield is not going to back down from Connor McMichael. Chatfield trying to get the arm loose. The linesmen are going to let him go. Chatfield swings down McMichael. Brute strength.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Last night got kind of crazy, didn't it? I feel like this is a morning for the Canes where they wake up, they're like rubbing their face, maybe a swollen jawbone or something, and they're just like, what happened last night? I remember we were up 4-0, and then, man. No, it's the Canes and Caps are doing what hockey teams do at this point in the season, particularly ones that have both, as of right now, punched their playoff ticket. They are looking for any and every mental edge, physical superiority establishing that they can. Now, I just want to put this on Front Street. I've been on record before, but just so you know where I'm coming from, I don't like that fighting in hockey is a thing. I think there's a million ways that sports can settle their difference other than fighting. I don't think beanballs and baseball are good. But especially the last 2 years covering the Canes, I've come around to the fact that as long as it is a thing, right? As long as I'm not the person that gets to write the rules or establish the unwritten rules of hockey, as long as it's going to be a thing, it is a tool. It is a part of how you show that you have each other's back. It is a part of how a team can intimidate you. And it is a part of how another team tries to regulate how you play your game. So with that being said, I think last night in a weird way was good for the Canes. I think obviously the win was good. The hockey was good. We're talking about the fights. I think it was good for the Canes. Dennis, maybe you can help me out on this. I'm not exactly sure why it all started other than the Capitals got smoked, they were embarrassed and reacted like little kids.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Was Tom Wilson arguing that the right thing for Sebastian Aho to do was just stand there and let Tom Wilson get a 30-foot full-speed head start and basically lay like a kill shot hit on him? Because Aho spun out of it, which instincts.
Yeah.
And then Wilson got really mad, and that was kind of the spark to all of it.
So I think where Wilson was upset was that when Aho spun off the hit, you saw him whip his stick around, Aho's stick, and that caught Wilson on the back of the leg, and that's what Wilson didn't like. It's like, okay, so I'm like, all right, you avoided the hit, and you swung around, you slashed me. Okay, wow.
Okay.
This going from the guy that slams people's heads into the ice.
We'll get into Wilson's history. Okay, so there it is. That's I guess the instigator. That's the catalyst, the spark that lit it all.
That's part of it, yeah.
Alexander Ovechkin, who scored last night and is now one goal closer to the all-time goal-scoring record, was asked in the postgame what led to all the physicality in the third period.
We understand the possibility in the future we're going to meet them in the playoffs, and it was kind of playoffs atmosphere there.
Okay. So when you have Tom Wilson on your team and apparently you're trying to establish something for the postseason, he was going to, once you're down by that much and you're angry and you're seeing red, he was going to find something to be upset about. He was going to. If Aho didn't hit him in the leg, it would have been on the next play. It would have been on the next play. They would have found something to be mad about. And then once it happened, it does become a test of the Canes. It does. And especially because it started with Sebastian Aho as kind of the guy who he was yelling at, that has to be a no-go for the Canes. Fishy, Seabass, Sebastian Aho, that's the dude you protect. You're the Secret Service. He's the president, right? You're the offensive line. He's the quarterback. That's how it works. So if he's in the sights of Tom Wilson, there's only one way it can go from there. And it was Logan Stankoven. What is he listed at, 5'10"?
No, he's not listed at 5'10".
All 5'8" of them.
7.
There
5'7".
Decided Tom Wilson at 6'4", 220 listed was not intimidating to him. And I think Logan Stankoven earned a lot of stripes. He stood up to Tom Wilson. He shoved him. He got in his grill. And this is what Stankoven had to say after the game about it.
I just think it doesn't matter, who it is. If guys are going to push our guys around, then I'm going to be there to step in. Obviously I'm a smaller guy and I'm not looking to stir anything up, but I think I'm going to stand my ground and stand up for my teammates.
If you're the guy that's there when you see the little late check, you're the guy that does the pushing.
Yeah, because Sean Walker was standing next to the net. Puck had frozen by the goaltender, and well after the whistle, Wilson cross-checked Sean Walker down to the ice from behind. And that's where Stankoven's like, okay, I'm stepping in.
And not only is it what you should do, it shows everybody else what you're willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. Seth Jarvis, who, is also young but is much more veteran when it comes to his Cane stripes, his second 30-goal season as of last night, talked about seeing Stankoven stand up to Tom Wilson.
I love that out of Stan. He's putting on for our little guys. He did a great job standing in there. And that's just no fear, and that's a big part of being a smaller player in the NHL, and I think there's no bigger showcase of that than probably going against Tom Wilson in a scenario like that.
Think about messaging. Because honestly, and I'll say this probably 10 more times today, I don't like fighting in hockey, but I do think there's a lot of message sending when it happens. Think about the message the Canes just sent to Washington. Our smallest guy, one of our youngest guys, is going to stand up to the big bad wolf that Tom Wilson is. The guy with the history, the guy with the suspensions, the guy with the fines, the guy that sees red and it gets his emotions riled up. I wouldn't want to be like at a four-way stop with that guy, because if I, take my turn going through the stop sign, you're going to get road rage. Like it's that, and Logan Stankoven stood up to him. And then from that point on, it was the definition of your roll dogs, right? You don't roll up asking, what did they say? You roll up asking, who do we fight? I don't care who's in the right, who's in the wrong. My guy's in a fight. All right, which one of their buddies am I taking on? And Jost rolled up seeing red, and Jankowski showed up seeing red. Jalen Chatfield hip-tossed a dude, and everybody got really upset about it. I understand the Matter of fact, I did a ton of historical Googling today trying to figure out the slew foot and can Washington actually be mad about the Chatfield toss and all of this. And here's what I came to grips with. Here's where I settled it all down. You're living outside the law. You're in the wild, wild west. If you are the Washington Capitals with your history, specifically Tom Wilson's history, and you've argued against punishments in the past, you're living outside the law. The honorable thing to do, right, which is what everybody's saying. There's this unwritten code, and you don't slew foot, you don't hip toss. When someone doesn't have their bucket on, their helmet on, you don't throw them onto the ice. If you're arguing about honor, here's the honorable thing to do if you're the Caps. Argue against punishment for Jalen Chatfield, because that's what you do when your players make similar moves. Don't say he's not wrong. Say punishment isn't deserved. If you employ Tom Wilson and cry about slew footing, it's just hypocritical. If you instigate a fight with a non-fighter, which, by the way, Jalen Chatfield's a non-fighter, right? He's not a guy going out there expecting to get in fights. When there's the obvious fighting situations and you put people out there to handle it, he's not one of them put out there to handle it. He is a skating defenseman.
It was his first fight since October of 2022.
If you instigate a fight with a non-fighter, you should assume you're going to get non-fighter action, which is somebody who is adrenaline pumping, not exactly analytically thinking step by step through the fight. You go into survival mode. If you're a non-fighter, you're getting punched in the face or somebody has threatened to punch you in the face, you're not thinking like, well, what is inside the realm of what an appropriate fight would look like in this case? You're thinking one of us is going to come out of this surviving, and I want it to be me. Doesn't mean, punishment. And by the way, Jalen Chatfield, all reports today, will not be punished. You can argue whether it's deserved or not. That's fine. I just don't think the Caps should be the ones calling for it. And then the next step is they play again next Thursday. There's a chance they'll play again in the postseason. It all boils down to who understands the messages they're sending and who can keep their cool in the moments where you have to keep your cool. And then you could argue everybody should have kept their cool last night. There's an argument that the Canes should have, pointed at the scoreboard all night last night in the third period. I hear it. You should smirk when Tom Wilson wants to get all aggressive. But last night wasn't they didn't choose to go that route. They didn't choose to go that. They didn't choose to be the bigger person. They choose to be the bigger person. You know what I mean? They didn't choose to be the bigger people. They choose to be the harder hitters. And when you play on Thursday, you're going to have your head on a swivel. You're going to have to. I don't want to condone the hip toss, right? Because I understand, when you start getting an eye for an eye in those situations, it gets really, really dangerous, right? Because they're going to try to one up, and then you try to one up, and then they try to one up. And I'm not a fan of anybody getting hurt in any kind of foolishness. But I also understand the theory of if somebody pokes you in the chest, swinging on them might be your only option, both metaphorically and literally. You can't let Washington think they have that upper hand on you. And then you do your time in the box. You go into the locker room and you come out when you're one of the 3 stars of the game and your sweats and you celebrate. Like that's what you do. You take your punishment, you acknowledge your role in all of it, and there can be wrongs on both sides, and you move forward.
Teams have thought for years they can push around they can push around Carolina. People have thought that for years, but guess what? Carolina shows, hey, we're not going to here and try and goon things up, but if you try, we're going to step up and answer, and that's what they did last night. Everything they did was response to what Washington did. Carolina wasn't looking to initiate. As soon as Washington was down 3-0, when Jarvis roofed one on a power play, it was like, you know what? They had no interest in even trying to play out the rest of that game. It was just like, all right, who can we go after? That's all it was.
And by the way, I think the Caps were playing mind games. All right,
they were trying to.
We're going to lose this game. Let's try to gain some kind of edge for the next time we face them for the postseason. They were trying to play mind games, and once you get in there, like I said, it's outside the law. Canes can try to play mind games back. You know, you come at us with an 8 out of 10, we're coming back to you with a 9 out of 10. If you come back to us with a 10 out of 10, we're coming back to you with a 15 out of 10 because we're tired of the games. Like, if that's what it is, that's what it is. And by the way, I don't even think it's wildly important that you win the fights. Canes did for the most part. But I don't think it's wildly important you end up on top. You just have to show that you're willing to. And you're going to land some shots in the process. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will continue to have that conversation because it's an interesting one. We will continue to have that conversation today. We will also get to the Dean's List. And there's a Final Four game on Saturday, Duke versus Houston. There's one stat that I think will play a massive, massive role on who wins that one, Duke versus Houston. That's coming up next. Stick around.
You know that feeling? That confident, swaggerific feeling that says, look at me, world, I know stuff. Own that feeling with PlaySmart, a fun new go-to resource from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With PlaySmart, get to know the odds, learn tips, set limits and budgets, and make the most of your play. Awesome feeling, right? Right. Play smart, the way smart players play. Visit ncplaysmart.com. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
UB40. Live. The Relentless Tour 2025. Stay close to me. August 24th, Cocoa Booth Amphitheater. With special guest, The Fix. Get tickets this Friday, 10 a.m. at boothamphitheater.com. UB40 in concert. Produced by Mammoth Live.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We're a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come and throw it in and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands us apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there. If you ever need us, give us a call. Visit our website at newcombandcompany.com. As you always hear us say, your comfort is our business.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain or just struggling with daily activities because of discomfort in your knees, back, or other parts of your body? Well, I've got great news. It's called DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, a solution that can help you get back to feeling like yourself again without the risks of invasive surgery or long-term prescription drug use. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness is a regenerative medicine clinic. Their innovative treatment options address the root cause of your pain to promote healing and prevent re-injury for long-lasting pain relief. If you have arthritis, joint pain, sports injuries, or other conditions, their highly trained medical providers will develop a cutting-edge treatment plan tailored just for you with little to no downtime. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness can get you back to doing the things you love. Call DaVita Med Spa and Wellness today, spelled DVIDA. Call 984-333-1313, 984-333-1313, 984-333-1313.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Lufthansa is excited to take off from Raleigh Durham International Airport, connecting you to destinations like Germany, Italy, India, and beyond. Say yes to incredible journeys. Book today at Lufthansa.com.
Now Roslovic feathers it. Stankovic scores! Archery as he hits the bullseye in the top corner for Logan Stankovic. And it's 4-0 Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Gotta love teams having each other's back. I'm imagining I promise we will move on from the fighting with the Canes last night. I'm imagining Logan Stankovic as Jeremy Renner's character from The Town, right? Hey, I'm going to need you to come with me. You know, we're going to hurt some people, and you can't ask any questions. Whose car we taking?
Whose car we taking?
That's what I'm looking for, Logan. That's what I'm looking for. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I promise we will come back to it. But right now, we're gonna put on our goody two shoes hats for a second here, because we're gonna leave talking about fighting and start talking about school. Dean's List, classes in session. This is where we acknowledge, we praise those in the college sports world that have done something deserving of praise. I'm going to go against the grain here, just a hint. Just a hint. I'm throwing Donovan Dent, UCLA transfer portal commit from New Mexico, in the Dean's List. You may say, why do I care about a UCLA commit? Well, there was a point in time where I thought it would have been cool if Donovan Dent came to one of the schools in the Triangle. He was in the transfer portal. I thought he was a good player. He was a Mountain West Player of the Year at New Mexico. On3 has reported that he signed a deal worth, as they described, north of $3 million to play with UCLA this year. Congrats to you. Congrats to you. Get your life-changing money, Mr. Dent. $3 million? $3 million. North of, by the way. That's the kind of money that literally changes lives. There are certain times where, you know, hey, I'm going to the highest bidder, and you go to some school that maybe isn't your best fit, and I actually think it's a bad business deal, even though you got more money, right? If you go to a school like UNC, you go to a school like Duke, you go to whatever, like, I think what's better on your resume is a top line when you're looking for a job. Hey, I was all conference at Duke or UNC, or hey, I was nearby playing for a different school that finished bottom half of the league. Like, I especially in my business, if you go to Duke or UNC, you can jump to the head of the line in media. I think that matters. But $3 million? $3 million? Yeah, that could be your whole career, how you spend that $3 million, right? Go buy some, I don't know, real estate or something. I don't pretend to be somebody that knows what to do with $3 million, but I'm guessing money can make money.
I can imagine what I can do with $3 million.
So good for you. That, for some reason, college athletes are the only young people who we get really mad at when they do well for themselves. If somebody signed a recording contract, we'd be like, awesome. If somebody got a grant for research for millions of dollars, you're unbelievable. Athlete signs for $3 million. Everyone's like, what did he do to deserve that? Do something extremely unique that people pay a ton of money to watch. Market equilibrium, right? And by the way, I don't think he's worth $3 million, which is why I'm kind of glad he's not coming to the Triangle now. UCLA, spend that much of your budget on a player and see if you get the value back. Next Dean's List member. Actually, do you have one you want to go to yet, Dennis?
I don't have one, no.
Perfect. Then I'm going to go to an ECU cornerback, Savon Revel Jr.
Yeah.
He's expected to be drafted in the first 2 rounds. Prior to an injury this year, he was expected to be drafted in the first round. There's an ESPN.com article. Not right now. Keep listening to the show. But eventually, read it. I knew the story of Revel. I didn't know the story. He was at a JUCO that he didn't really play at. He was at a junior college. He played 2 games. 1 year was canceled for COVID. 1 year he was hurt for most of it. So he played
Lewisburg.
Yep.
Lewisburg, right up the road.
He was working 10-hour shifts at Amazon warehouses. He went to ECU for a camp, to one of those prospect camps. This is how his day went. He had a 10-hour shift at the Amazon warehouse. He went and slept in his dad's car, waiting for his dad's shift at the Amazon warehouse to come up. So he got about an hour of sleep. His dad gets to the car. They drive the, whatever it is, 2.5 hours to ECU's campus. And once he gets there, he ran a 4.4, jumped 11 foot in the broad jump, had a 39-inch vertical leap, measured in at 6'2", 190 with a wingspan that would put him in the 87th percentile of all NFL players. And from that point on, they offered him a scholarship on the spot. Turns out, grades were so bad, they said, we need you to get to a 2.5 at Lewisburg before we can take you. And he was multiple decimal points away from that. Got it up, ends up at ECU, puts one great season together on tape, gets hurt again. He's going to be drafted. He's going to be a first 2-round draft pick. That's credit to him. And by the way, I don't love, usually I see these interviews or these articles. I don't love the sob stories. I don't love the, it's one, my mom watches American Idol, so here you go. I get really frustrated with American Idol when every single contestant has some boo-hoo story that they have to go back and tell the story of. I'm like, there's no way. Everybody has just massive trauma all the time, which maybe it is. I just get exhausted by it. This doesn't read like, his story doesn't read like a sob story. It reads like a determination story. And oh, by the way, after last year, massive NIL and transfer tampering took place. Read the article. He stayed at ECU. Could have gotten huge money from teams in the college football playoff this year. They wouldn't say which one. Stayed at ECU. It's actually helping his cause. Some NFL talent evaluators really like loyalty. Last Dean's List member for today, Frank Reich. Former Panthers coach.
Is that Frank Reich?
Former Colts coach. Interim head coach, Stanford football. I was thinking about it. I think interim, like obvious interim, when he took the job, they're starting a national search and they will complete it in the 2026 offseason. It does not feel at all like he's an interim coach who's hoping to get the job, like most interim coaches are. His situation, I think, is fantasy land for a football coach. I think it's like position A for an old school football coach. Here's why. You get to teach. You get to coach, you get to instruct, you get to impart wisdom on young football players that are not yet completely calloused over by the ranks of the professional NFL world. And you don't have to mess with the stuff everyone else hates. No recruiting, because you're not coming back next year. No NIL fundraising, because you're not coming back next year. No pandering to guys about staying out of the transfer portal. That's all on the GM, Andrew Luck, and the next coach, right? It's their responsibility. He just gets to show up and do what I think most coaches want to do when they get into coaching, which is share the aspects of the thing they love, right? Think about how miserable his coaching stint in Carolina must have been for him. It took like 2 games for assistant coaches to be going full, I don't watch Game of Thrones, so pardon me if I spoil something from season 1 like 20 years ago.
Okay. Littlefinger, yes.
It took like 2 games for his assistants to go full Littlefinger and start going around him to talk to the GM and the owner, and everything got real catty. If you're just somebody that wants to pass along the sport you love and all the wisdom you gained, that had to be so awful for him. Not saying he didn't deserve some blame for the bad play, but awful. Now he gets to go to college and teach 19 to 23-year-olds, how to be pros, how to do it right. That's awesome. And by the way, did you hear where he got the call from Andrew Luck? Apparently he's in the area. He was in the Costco in Greensboro when Andrew Luck called him and said, "Hey, you want to come be a coach for a year? Let me put back this pack of 700 toilet papers and go talk to you outside." Greensboro Costco, shout out. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List. And hear from our very own Adam Gold. For those of you that may have missed the fireworks, both goal-scoring and fist-throwing variety, last night in the Canes-Caps game, this is something we call 2 minutes of gold to help catch you up to speed.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 topics, 2 power play goals, and 2 big saves as the Hurricanes picked up 2 huge points over the Washington Capitals and clinched their 7th straight playoff spot. I apologize for the stray number 7 in a sea of 2s. You can discover why Parkway Sleep Health Centers are the trusted place for better sleep. Here we go. Let's start in net where Freddie Anderson was the man. My first star today. What a run it's been. 8 straight games. He has allowed 2 goals or less, and it started very early in the first.
Now here comes a chance for Leonard out in front. Anderson with the save as he denies Brodus.
Brodus, 30 goals. What a save. I mean, I talk about those pinball flipper pads that are so quick for a big guy. Terrific stuff.
If Alexi Protas goes to 31 goals on the season, the Hurricanes are behind. As it turns out, the Canes got the first goal and then the first of 2 Jackson Blake power play markers.
Second chance, they score! Jackson Blake gets to the rebound, and the rookie pounds it home. And Carolina has a 2-0 lead with a power play goal. He's winning clean. Blake on the backhand, and he scores! Oh, he put his hand in the cookie jar and came away with 1. Another power play goal for Carolina. It's 5-1.
So that Blake goal made it 5-1. But way back in the second period, with Alexander Ovechkin looking for number 892, then Anderson came up with the good.
Michael trying to make a move around Burns, and out in front, Mr. Anderson denying Alexander Ovechkin.
Oh, baby, what a moment.
Ovi was going to get his. It took a crazy, bogus 5-on-3 power play for him to get it, but he's at 892, and the Hurricanes are at 96 points, and they are driving through the tape. They look like a team that is going to be a postseason factor. We'll see. But 2 big points last night as the Hurricanes clinched their 7th straight postseason bid. Parkway Sleep Health Centers, sound sleep, sound health, and sound off for a 7th straight playoff bid.
Thank you very much to Adam Gold. 2 minutes of gold for the Canes win last night over Washington. We have way more than 2 minutes of good stuff here for the Duke versus Houston game on Saturday. Duke versus Houston, matchup of heavyweight fighters, right? These are 2 sluggers, okay? It's you don't want to watch them hit the heavy bag, of course, metaphorically, because some of these guys are actually pretty skinny, as it should be, by the way. Final 4 should be a heavyweight matchup. There's some stats here that are pretty interesting, and then I'm going to give you the one at the end that I think could easily be the thing we all point to that decided the outcome of this game. First of all, Houston allows the fewest amount of points in the entire country per game. 58.3 points per game. That's how much they allow. Lowest in the entire country, not in Power 5 or Power 4, whatever you want to call it, not in tournament play, entire country. Duke allows 62.7. That's, they're a real slouch. 7th best in the entire country. 7th fewest points allowed in the entire country. To give you a kind of illustration, last year in the Sweet 16, Duke beat Houston 54-51. Real light-em-up show. Now, most of Duke, obviously not there, just Tyrese Proctor, but a lot of Houston's players were there, and that's the game they want to play. Offensively, Duke scores the 9th most points in the entire country. That's how dominant they've been. 9th most points scored, 7th fewest points allowed. Houston on the surface wouldn't be as good. Okay, they fewest points allowed. They only have the 166th most points scored per game, and 74 points per game. However, if you look at Ken Pom efficiency, Duke is number 1. Houston's offense is the 10th most efficient offense, according to Ken Pom. So they don't rank near the middle of the country in points scored because they can't score. It's because they play a absolute sluggish pace. On some per possession metrics, they're actually a really good offense. None of that is the stat that I think is going to decide this game. Here's the stat that I believe is going to decide this game. The average height of Houston's 7 leading scorers is 6 feet 4.3 inches. The average height of Duke's 7 leading scorers is 6 feet 7.3 inches. They have, on average, a 3-inch advantage for every player in their rotation. That, to me, is something that Duke has to take advantage of, and it's not easy because my first thought was like, wow, Houston 6'4", 6'4.3". Like, I'm just a hair under 6'4", and I'd consider myself an undersized college basketball player. So they must just get bullied on the glass. They must get every shot blocked. I looked it up. It's not true. Duke is 11th in rebounding margin in the country. Houston's 32nd. Out of over 350 teams, they're the 32nd best rebounding team as far as how many rebounds they get against how many rebounds their opponents get. That's really good. And I don't care if you got a bunch of 7-footers. That's really good if you're 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". They're good. They actually block significantly more shots per game than Duke does. All those volleyball spikes that Kaman Malawash has, all the volleyball spikes that Cooper Flagg has, Houston blocks a bunch more shots per game than Duke does, despite the fact that they have nobody that has scored more than 13 points all season taller than 6'8". Nobody. Think about that. So here's what Duke has to be able to do. Duke has to be able to use their length on defense. If they are going to switch everything, then you are without a doubt going to have 7-footers on 6'3" at some point in your defensive rotation. That can be an advantage or a disadvantage. The other thing that is going to happen, or Houston is going to try to make it happen, is they're going to try to get the big guys in foul trouble. And we talked about this before the Elite Eight game for Duke. When you're drawing paths for how Houston wins this one, Kaman Malawash and Patrick Gungba in foul trouble is one of the most obvious. Why? Well, think about what happens if you're Houston. Houston plays one of the slowest games in the country. What does that mean? You have to defend for 30 seconds, the entire shot clock. And they're pretty good offensive rebounding despite their size. One offensive rebound, you have to defend for 60 seconds or more. What happens when you're tired? Stupid fouls. Right? When you defend for an entire shot clock, then they get the offensive rebound, somebody's driving in, you don't stay vertical, you swat. You don't move your feet as fast, you use your arms, you reach. What happens when a 7-footer is being boxed out by a 6'5"er over the back? Malawash, I actually think, gets called for a bunch of really bad over-the-backs because his entire upper body is above the head of the other player, so he's not actually making contact, and he's, like, reaching over. But refs call it. Refs call it. If you're going into a game where nobody in their rotation is taller than 6'7", you need your 7'2", you need your 6'11" to play as much as possible. You can't be artificially turned into a roster that matches theirs. So if I'm looking for a stat that tells me Duke is going to win, I'm looking at it and saying foul trouble for Malawash and Ngongba. If they stay out of foul trouble to where Coach Shire, John Shire, can put them in the game whenever he wants, not, all right, we got to take you out. All right, you got to sit till halftime. Not, all right, now you're done till this second-to-last media timeout. If he gets to use his instincts, which he's talked about in post-game pressers a bunch, coaching to his instincts. If he gets to use his instincts on when to have the big guys out there, when to pull them, when to switch them up, I think that's massive for taking advantage of their height against Houston.
You're also hoping for Duke that another week of Malik Brown getting that shoulder stronger.
Mm-hmm.
We did see him play about 4 or 5 minutes in each of the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. So if you need to play him 12, I'm sure you probably could if you needed to. And he's also so great defensively, he can match up. He's 6'9" himself, so he could match up perfectly with the size, I guess you can say, lack of a better term, with Houston. But I'm also wondering as well is that if Duke can get Houston to run, it takes them out of their element, and I think Duke is capable of doing that if they get the defensive stops and they can push the pace. If they get Houston to play at a faster tempo than they're used to, Houston might get cooked.
I have – first of all, let me address what you said first. Malik Brown. I don't think they wanted him to play as if they could avoid him playing. They didn't. But what happened?
He didn't play in the second half of either of the games, by the way.
In the first half, Malawash and Gungba got in foul trouble, and they just needed 6'9", and he was. And he was doing some stuff one-handed and almost had a block that I was like, ooh, keep that other hand completely out of there. Secondly, this is another one of my favorite stats. Houston in possessions per game. You mentioned how they want to play real slow. I mentioned how they want to play real slow. They are 358th in possessions per game. There are 364 teams in the entire country. 358th.
So they're slower than Virginia.
Actually, no.
Oh, they're not?
Virginia is like 361 out of 364. Drake is dead last, and those are the only, I don't know, Sam Houston or something's down there. A bunch of teams that you don't really know anything about. Drake was dead last. UVA was third or fourth to last, and they were just fractions of a possession faster than those teams.
So the same company.
Yes, exactly. And here's what that does for Duke. You have to – I don't want Duke to try to play their tempo at all, but I do want them to make sure their offensive possessions are great. If it's a first 5-second three, which they have pulled at times, right? You're open, you knock it down, that's fine. That's a good high percentage shot, but what you can't do is defend for 45 seconds, take a bad shot quickly, defend for 45 seconds, take a bad shot quickly, because that's what they want you to do. You have to make sure you're short, long, whatever, you play your tempo. Just make sure you're getting good shots and make sure you're staying out of foul trouble. I think that's going to be huge. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of brackets, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We are in the last four. We are all the way down to the final matchups of our watch bracket, and they are absolute masterpieces. The watches, yes, which are all available at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, by the way, but also the matchups. We have the Blancpain 50 Fathoms matched up against the Rolex GMT Master 2. The winner advances to our final matchup, which will happen on Monday. First of all, Rolex GMT Master 2 is iconic. The silhouette, it's another one of those watches that you could remove all the Rolex markings. I don't know why you would, but you could, and you would still immediately identify it just from its silhouette. It's iconic. The dial is classic. The bezel is awesome. And I say all of that to say I have to go with the Blancpain 50 Fathoms. It's one of the originals. Right? You often imitated, never duplicated. The 50 Fathoms from Blancpain is the original dive watch in my mind. And when you have that kind of classic look and important history, how can you go wrong with it? 50 Fathoms advances to the final, the championship of our watch bracket. And remember, everybody, every watch in our bracket, every one we've done, from the first round watches that didn't advance, like the Speedmaster, the Santos, the Cartier Santos, all the way up to the ones in the championship. They are all available at Bailey's Fine Jewelry. I encourage you to try on all 16. Decide for yourself who should have won the bracket. 50 Fathoms advancing. We'll see if it's the Daytona from Rolex or the Omega Constellation against it in the championship tomorrow. Make sure you're there. When you're there, by the way, at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, you let them know you heard about it right here from me on 99.9 The Fan. We have football at 4 coming up next, where we play a game of worst-case scenario. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
As they say in the classic movie Star Wars, John Shire, you're our only hope. At least that's what the ACC is saying. Duke, though, the way they played defense leading into the Final Four, look out, San Antonio. And if there's one town that appreciates basketball on defense more than San Antonio, I'd like to know. Oh, wait, maybe it's Durham, North Carolina.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
John is in a hot tub on his vacation. He earned 20,000 points by spending $2,000 with his Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card. To be clear, you don't have to vacation in a hot tub to redeem this offer. But John did, because the bubbles make him happy. Right now, you can earn 20,000 points when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. Offer ends January 1st, 2026. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Visit NavyFederal.org for details.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione, tracking a very warm forecast as we head through the remainder of our Thursday. We'll go for a high temperature of 85 degrees today, and there could be a little bit of light mist or drizzle out there. Otherwise, the majority of our day is dry before a high of 89 tomorrow.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 1,706 points to 40,518.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Football 4, but it also could be time for you to set yourself up on the path towards a 10K playoff payout. Starting Monday, this upcoming Monday, whatever, 4 or 5 days from now. Starting Monday, it is back. You can listen to 99.9 The Fan every afternoon during the drive, that's this show, for your chance to see the Storm Surge in person. Hopefully with more people in the Storm Surge than last night. It was less people in the Storm Surge. It's our annual 10K playoff payout. That's because they were all, in the locker room after. If you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. Try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck and take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. You heard me right. $10,000. Listen for the 10K playoff payout. And remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. That's all starting Monday, so make sure you're tuning into this show on Monday. And right now, because it's time for Football at 4. Listen, you have to prepare going into a draft. I'd say if you have top 3 picks, if you're one of the top 3, you can go in with concrete expectations. Right? Here are the 3 names we want. In this order, bada boom, bada bang. Anything else, you're not at pick 8 like the Panthers, you have to prepare to read and react. Even for the worst case scenario. Remember those books, like the worst case scenario survival guide, and it was all, here's what to do if you end up in your car and you're drowning, right? You wait till the water's all the way at the top and pop it. Don't quote me on that. But
This is not that show.
Somebody's car like drives off a bridge and they're like, I remember what the sports radio guy said. Why is that the only thing I can think of right now? No, but if you're the Panthers, you do have to prepare for the best scenario, which is easy, right? It is what I hope happens, but also the worst case scenario. And kind of all of this talk about Shedeur Sanders possibly falling to the back half of the first is what sparked this for me, right? Because if Shedeur Sanders doesn't go in the top 4 or 5 picks, suddenly that's somebody who the Panthers were probably hoping would be there at 8, taken above him. And that's bad. So when Mel Kiper said things like this about Shedeur Sanders,
then you say, what is New Orleans? I think New Orleans is a great spot. Look at the division. You got Dome with the Saints, Dome with Atlanta, good weather in Carolina, good weather in Tampa. Why? Because Shedeur doesn't have the great arm strength. So it would fit better in New Orleans. Pittsburgh, not as much, but he could be there at 21, then the Rams at 26. That's as far because Rodgers slipped to 24 when we had him going number 1 3 weeks before the draft when he came out with Alex Smith. Alex Smith goes 1. Well, Rodgers can't go much further. He drops to 24, guys. So this has happened before. It can happen again. History helps us predict the future.
History helps us predict the future. So if he drops, I was like, ooh, what do the Panthers do? So then the ball gets rolling, right? The thought process gets rolling. And Dennis and I, in the cubicles earlier today, played the worst-case scenario game. If the worst happens, what do the Panthers do? Here's what we came up with as the scenario. There are 7 picks above the Panthers. We did not play trades because that's an impossible game trying to predict it. First pick, the Titans go Abdul Carter. Edge rusher, Penn State. Second pick, the Browns. They go with Cam Ward because even in our worst-case scenario, we think Cam Ward will be drafted somewhere near the top. Giants, Travis Hunter, best player available. New England, Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. Now you're getting into the players that, in fantasy land, Panthers may think, like, I hope this guy's there. Mason Graham goes to New England, number 4. Jacksonville with the 5th pick takes Jalen Walker. If you heard anything Dave Canales said about Jalen Walker to Kay Adams on NFL Network, you would know why people think the Panthers are interested in Jalen Walker. Gushed all over him. Las Vegas with the 6th pick in the worst-case scenario takes Will Johnson, the corner, because I do think there's a world where the Panthers are thinking, if all our favorite guys are gone, we'll just get our number 1 corner pick. And that's like such a nice consolation prize. And then with the Jets' 7th pick, I put Tyler Warren there, the tight end, because similarly, I think there's some Panther fans thinking that's the fallback. That's like, hey, if we don't get all our guys, we'll get the best tight end. We'll get the number 1 pass catcher. So if those 7 go in that order, Panthers at the 8th pick do not have what any of kind of the consensus best picks expected are there. There's Jahdae Barron, which would be your 2nd cornerback choice.
Yeah.
Would you really take a corner at 8, your 2nd pick, and not the strongest corner draft? There would be whoever your 3rd edge rusher is on your board because Abdul Carter and Jalen Walker are already gone. So it becomes a whatever your soup du jour is, right? Whatever your pick of the day is. Mykel Williams, Mike Green. That's what I think of that. Wide receiver, Tet McMillan, or whoever your best wide receiver outside of Travis Hunter is. In which case it just feels like you're reaching for a position, which is not what you want to do. You could go offensive tackle. That's not a position you need, although there might be a player worthy. Armin Membu, Will Campbell, if you don't mind that he has short arms. Little T-Rex out there. Or do you reach for a position that you need that isn't a premium, something like a safety in Nick Emenwari or from what is it, South Carolina?
Yeah.
That is the ultimate situation for the Panthers, but it is a good thought exercise. Like, I talk about days. One of the things I'm most jealous of for GMs and assistant GMs and scouts is the things that I try to do in like a half hour for this show. They can go, here's our task for today, right? We talked about trading up a couple of weeks ago. And does it seem like a smart thing? No, common sense would probably say the Panthers shouldn't trade up, give up more assets for less assets. But if I were the GM, I would take a day. And I would say, today we're figuring out if it's plausible or smart for us to entertain it. This would be another one. I would walk in as Dan Morgan, right? Hey, everybody, team meeting room. 8 a.m., 7 a.m., I don't know, coach's weird hours, 4:15 in the morning. Everybody there, here's what we're doing today. If this is how the board goes for the first 7, what's our move? Raise your hand. Tell me, what's our move? And somebody's going to say, I think we go with Mike Green out of Marshall. Somebody's going to say, I think we with what we know, we think the Rams would want to go up and get Shedeur Sanders. Like you got to talk about everything. Because what you don't want to have happen is you go, well, that's the absolute, there's no way that's going to happen. Then it happens and you're unprepared and you got 15 minutes and you're on the clock and it's draft day and you're calling, the Browns, you're calling the Giants saying you could still come up and get Shedeur and we'll sell it on the cheap. And now you're making, like, they're like, we didn't even start negotiating. They're already saying they're going to sell it on the cheap because there's only 7 minutes left on the clock and you got to make something happen. Like, you don't want to put yourself in a panic situation. And it's not always going to be glorious. Because the opposite, like, we also played best case scenario, and we might do that tomorrow, where, hey, if all the quarterbacks go in the top 7 and you have you have your number one option at like 4 different positions of need, what do you do there? That's easy. That's fun. I'll do that all day, right? It's putting yourself in the uncomfortable positions. It's, the irony is, a football GM can use football analogies all over the place. Offensive coordinators, they'll tell your quarterback all the time, like, this play will be wired unless they come out in a bare front. And they haven't shown a bare front on film in 3 years. I guarantee you that game they're going to trot out the seldom used bare front. And if your quarterback is just out there going, he told me there wouldn't be a bare front, you're going to be panicked. It's not going to work. Meanwhile, if you go, hey, they're probably not going to, but if it's a bare front, you can just go ahead and check to the dive. Or you can go ahead and, get the play action out of it. And then, all right, cool. You walk up there, you go, oh, geez. Coach said this might happen. Hey, easy. Check it. And you just change it and you fix it. Do I think this is the way the board is going to go? No.
Probably not.
They haven't shown this on tape in 3 years. But if it does happen, I need you to know what to do. And because on this show I do like to press for answers, if this happens, I think I'm going corner.
Really?
I think I'm going Jahdae Barron.
Okay.
I think it's, one, I think the level of, or the threshold for success there is less because you're not drafting a number 1 corner. You already have J.C. Horn. So but also second corner is wildly important.
Yeah, last time I checked, those guys start too.
So it's worth taking an 8th pick position, but you don't need him to be, all-pro defensive player of the year because that's supposed to be J.C. Horn. Meanwhile, if you take an edge rusher, you got to be the number 1 edge. You got to be the dude. And I think you can go Abdul Carter or Jalen Walker for that at the moment, and maybe some of these other guys are less likely.
And here's something to keep in mind as well, like the scenario that we just gave, like the top 7 guys that go off the board right away, and then you're kind of scrambling, figuring out, man, all the top guys are gone. People say, well, trade back. Well, again, if all those top guys are gone, who's moving up? And again, if Shedeur Sanders falls, people might sit there and say, well, we're just going to let this guy tumble possibly, unless they have intel thinking that, I think this is where what the Saints at 9 and what people think the Saints are going to do. If they think they're going to take a quarterback at 9, then guess what? You got to jump them, which actually that could potentially be best case scenario for Carolina.
Yes, and that's part baked in, and we explained this off air, which is unfair to you because you didn't get to hear it. We did bake in as part of this worst case scenario. The guys that are falling are not falling out of their control. They're falling because there's something, right? Like if Will Campbell's the number 1 tackle on the board and people see him as a franchise tackle, and for whatever reasons he's available at 8 because teams above him just didn't have a need, that's good for the Panthers because then you have a franchise tackle. You don't need one. You can sell that pick for a king's ransom. Same thing with Shedeur Sanders. In worst case scenario, they're not falling because other teams just didn't have a need or they liked other guys more. They're falling because the league doesn't actually think Shedeur Sanders is worth a top 10 pick. The league doesn't think Will Campbell is worth a top 10 pick. And if they're falling and you have the 8th pick and there's nobody there that you see worth 8 and nobody there that other teams see is worth 8, then you got to make a pick, right? You don't want to let a clock expire. But it's less than ideal. So that, like, baked into the worst case scenario is there's nobody that is absolutely in love with Tet McMillan that wants to go spend huge draft capital to go get him, in which case you just say thank you, call it into the league, and get ready to make your next pick. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the Ladder Challenge coming up. The trophy is in its rightful home here in the host studio. And a Duke going into the Final Four edition of Cons and Cons, Confidence and Concerns. But before we get to any of that, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here with my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, what could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or maybe start that home remodel you've been talking about. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will be back with the Ladder Challenge. Staying hot. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
Hey, I know Cooper Flagg didn't win all of the awards. He won the 2 major ones. He got Player of the Year. He got Rookie of the Year. Neither were unanimous, which blows my mind. But he should have won Defensive Player of the Year as well. And John Shire was the Coach of the Year. Yes, I know Duke has all these great players. They were 19-1. They were 28-3. Historical point differential. Come on.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this part-time hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For a limited time while supplies last. Valid in-store only. Requires support in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Pierce the Veil. I Can't Hear You World Tour 2025. Pierce the Veil. Live in concert in Raleigh. With special guests, Health, Eka Vandal, and Like Roses. Live at Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Saturday, October 25th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series.
Hey friends, it's Paul Lyhander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. And FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is the best place to bet on sports. There's an absolutely loaded sports calendar this week. Whether you're into basketball, baseball, hockey, or any other sport, check out some of the exclusive promotions. Dinger Tuesday, Hump Day parlays, and golf profit boost tokens over the weekend. Think about my boys in blue. Maybe some home run blasts in store for maybe Freddie Freeman or Shohei Ohtani. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul and make every moment more. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
So, you found the one and want to get married? Next step, you need the ring. And not just any ring, the perfect engagement sparkle that exemplifies your love. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is here to help. Our diamond experts, wide selection of high-quality diamonds, and financing make saying I do easy. We guarantee you'll love the ring or your money back. You're invited to see why Bailey's has been voted best place to buy your diamonds. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to find out more.
Time is running out, folks. I need you to go to caniacsbike.com. Dennis Cox here for the Law Tigers. The Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint are all teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple to enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. Sign-ups last until April 6th. The bike will be given away on the final home game of the season. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Lob it to the left. Proctor has a step on Phylon to the paint, off the window and in. The crafty moves of an upperclassman, and the lead back to 13.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The April competition for the ladder challenge is underway. Dennis, you had the lead going into yesterday. So did you win last night? How are we looking?
I did win last night. Things turned out pretty well for me last night.
All right, go ahead and tell us and then make your pick for today. Even though I have the trophy in here because I won March, you are technically ahead in April, so you get to go first.
I am ahead in April right now. So last night I did over 3.5 goals combined between the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Leafs won that one 3-2. That was a minus 650, so I'm up to $13.24. That's where I currently sit right now on the ladder challenge. So you know me, I like to go hockey, and that's exactly where I'm going to go tonight. Going to go into the NHL. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning on the road at the Ottawa Senators. Now, this is a game of a potentially first-round matchup in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Tampa Bay's competing with both Florida and Toronto for the top spot in the Atlantic Division. So there's Ottawa pretty firmly has that top wild card spot. So you know me, I like to go with the good old shots on goal. I'm going to go with Nikita Kucherov, 2+ shots on goal tonight. So that's actually right at minus 500. So my $13.24 will turn into, actually entered in the wrong number there, $15.97.
All right. I'm going with something a little more likely, like the shorter odds. Either way, last night I did win. I had Alex Ovechkin, 2 or more shots on goal versus Carolina. Scored a goal, finished with 4 shots on goal, so that's a winner chicken dinner.
Yeah.
And I'm just letting everybody know I'm gonna come back to that. If they continue to give pretty good odds on shots on goal for Ovechkin as he chases this record, I'm going to continue to use that in the ladder challenge. Similarly, I'm going back to a very tried and true version of a bet that's done well for me in the ladder challenge. Tonight is the final in the NIT. That's right. The Robin to the NCAA tournaments, Batman, finishes up tonight with a heavyweight matchup, Chattanooga versus UC Irvine. In the kind of traditional spread, Chattanooga is a 3.5-point dog. I'm able to tease that all the way down to 15.5. So give me Chattanooga plus 15.5 points over UC Irvine. It is minus 850 in odds, which will turn my $12.95 into $14.47. Just looking to continuously hit singles and doubles in the ladder challenge, kind of the name of the game. I just think elimination game desperation. Once you get to these tournaments where if you lose, you're done, it leads to I don't even want to say like close games, but if you're down 20, they scrap so hard to be down 12. When in regular season games, you're down 20, you just go, all right, put the walk-ons in. This one, you scrap till the end. So Chattanooga plus 15.5 over UC Irvine NIT Finals tonight. Hopefully we'll have a winner chicken dinner.
Which you can listen to here on The Fan, by the way.
Look at that. You can track my bets for me by listening here on 99.9 The Fan. Or tail them with us.
Or, update Tim on his bets as you listen to the game here on The Fan tonight.
Here's the only thing I ask. Wait till after halftime. Because they get down 20 at half. I'm telling you, these elimination games, they get closer towards the end. I won't worry till halftime. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump to cons and cons, remember, starting Monday, it is back. Listen to 99.9 The Fan every afternoon. Fire that again. Let them know. Let them know. Listen every afternoon during The Drive, that is the show you're listening to now, for your chance to see the Storm Surge in person. It's our annual 10K playoff payout. Try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck and take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. Listen for the 10K playoff payout, and remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. That's starting on Monday. Make sure you're tuning into this show starting on Monday. Now let's fire up a little cons and cons.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
That starts with a W.
Confidence.
Cons and cons. Although, this should be like cons and cons and con, because we're doing a Duke version of cons and cons, which is what are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about? This is the first time we've done a specific cons and cons for a team that has a con in their starting lineup in Con Knipple. So normally it's C-O-N and C-O-Ns. Today it'll be K-O-Ns and K-O-Ns for Con Knipple. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Blue Devils heading into the Final Four? I have an idea that mine may build off of Dennis's. So, Dennis, I'll have you lead off. I'm talking about confidence. As always, we start with concerns. So, go first with concerns just to set the order, our batting order.
So, my concern over the last couple of games, especially when they played Arizona, I thought at times, and even a little bit in the Alabama game, not that they were egregious, but I thought at times in the second half of games that they got a little sloppy with the ball at times. Just in offensive half-court sets. Just there are a few careless turnovers.
Usually once they have a decent lead.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even in the Arizona game, which was a much tighter game, I thought they had too many turnovers
that led to
at
it being
times.
Closer. They were up, I think, 19 at one point, and then they got sloppy, and it became a 6-point game.
It did. I even got down to 5. So that was a little bit of a concern for me. I don't know if they just maybe let the foot off the gas just a little bit, maybe started to coast. But I just thought it was, even times I thought they were trying to go to the lob to Malawash maybe a little too much. But again, this is a nitpick thing here. But I mean, so if there's a little bit of a concern, that might be it for me. But again, that's a nitpick.
Oh, it's 100% nitpick.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what this kind of forces us to do a little bit here. My concern is Houston's tempo. You know, we talked about it earlier. Houston is 358th in the country in possessions per game. There are only 364 teams in the entire country. Duke can play a lot of different tempos, but there is a rhythm to their game when they're playing their best. There is a this possession we hit the pick and roll, I work into a jumper. This time we hit the pick and roll, that ends with a Malawash layup. This time I hit the pick and roll, it's a kick out. And if there's 2 minutes between possessions, it's hard to get into that kind of next counter rotation. And then defensively, I do worry about just a bit of them having to defend for full 30-second shot clocks. And then even with Houston not being a big team, they do have a pretty good offensive rebounding reputation and numbers throughout the year. So, you know, you defend for 27 seconds, you give up an offensive rebound, you defend for another 27 seconds. That's exhausting. And leads to fouls and things like that. We talked about it earlier. So I'm just going generically Houston's super slow tempo. That's what I'm a tad bit concerned about. Now for confidence. Dennis, what are you most confident in for the Blue Devils heading into the Final Four?
I know you're going to always expect me to say versatility when they're lineup, which actually it ties into my confidence, is that Cooper Flack doesn't have to be the best player in order for them to win. Mm-hmm. He is the best player on the floor on any given night, but he doesn't have to be the best player in order for Duke to win and win big. Just looked at the Alabama game. Did not shoot efficiently. Now he could do obviously a bunch of other things that can still control the game in many different ways, but he doesn't have to be their top scorer in order for them to win. That's the beautiful thing about Duke basketball this year, is that their best guy doesn't have to be the best guy on a night in and night out basis in order for them to not only beat you, but beat you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Beat you. My confidence is building off of everything you just said, right? Why I said I was going to build off what you were going with is because you have been pretty consistent with positional lineup versatility.
Yes,
as your
absolutely.
confidence. I'm going with the thing that I think allows that, which is basketball IQ.
Oh yeah,
right.
The roof.
I've talked about these Paul Bunyan articles about Cooper Flagg, where everybody tells the legends of Cooper Flagg growing up, and I saw him in a tiny gym in Newport, Maine, and he. For some reason, LeBron was playing, and Cooper Flagg dunked on him 17 times. And it's like, was anybody else there? No, just me. Take my word for it. Like, there's these Paul Bunyan-esque stories of Cooper Flagg. This week, it appears to be the Con Knipple Paul Bunyan story time. There's the Making of Con Knipple article right now, featured on both Fox Sports and CBS Sports, telling similar stories but a little different. Did you know that the reason he fell in love with basketball is because his parents got him a Wii and NBA Jam? It's in both articles. And they go into a bit of some of Con Knippel's strengths are like, because let's be real, Con Knippel, vertical jump, not going to scare you a ton. Even in a post-game press conference or a post-game interview on the floor, he was like, yeah, I'm not really a fast guy, so I try to slow it down. Like his physical traits aren't going to, outside of maybe strength and size, aren't going to wow you. But both articles go into, like, he almost always makes the right decision on, pick and roll decisions. He almost always makes the right decision on when to cut and when to pop. And the kind of natural basketball IQ of the team allows them to use their positional versatility. Right? Even somebody like Kaman Malawash, who has only been playing basketball for 5 years, can execute a bunch of different schemes and systems and can be, in complex blitz and not blitz and all that. Like, I'm not even going to pretend like I know all of the intricacies of basketball defense at the highest level. But I know that they're not easy to do, and all it takes is one guy to be on a different page than everybody else, and somebody gets a wide open layup. So Duke, pretty much as a whole this year, guys can come off the bench and be ready to execute the entire game plan and adjust on the fly. We know that John Shire threw him out there in his zone a few times, despite not practicing his zone at all, and they executed it pretty well. We know that they ad-lib on traditional sets, and it works. So the thing that allows them to use all their versatility that they have physically, right? Size, speed, length, ability to guard 1 through 5, 1 through 4, is the fact that they are all connected with basketball IQ. So that's what I'm throwing out there as my confidence. Cons and cons. Call it a close here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now, rightfully so, there's been a lot of praise of Duke recently, especially in ACC circles, partially because nobody else from the ACC is playing and hasn't been for weeks now. Nobody from the ACC other than Duke made it to the second round of the tournament. So there's been a lot of praise for Duke, which motivation, right? I'd have no problem if every single locker in every single ACC basketball locker room or every single squat rack in every single ACC basketball weight room has praise for Duke tacked to the wall. Motivation, right? That's who you're chasing. NC State, no different. They got a new coach. They have a new energy. They have reported new funding. They're chasing Duke. They're the ones with the ACC title, right? That's who you're chasing, both regular season and conference tournament. Reportedly, Louisville has three of the top 10 guards in the portal as of right now are committed to Louisville. That's not because they're happy that they finished second in the ACC tournament. That's because they're trying to chase down Duke and become the hunted. NC State, the Will Wade era that everybody's so excited about, including, I think it's a pretty good one. They started with like a leadoff single is what I'm calling it. They started with a get on base, right? A seeing eye single. It was a chopper to the left side of the infield, and you beat it out with speed. Nobody's super excited about it, but you got a guy on base and no outs. Alan Breed is the first name out of the portal for NC State. The news broke late yesterday, and I've done the research now. Played 2 games at McNeese State last year before a knee injury ended his season. Prior to that, played 3 uneventful years at Providence. Prior to that, did one post-high school grad year at IMG Academy down in Florida, which is a factory for recruits. Here's the reason why I say it's a double. No one's excited, a single. No one's really excited, and you don't see people going nuts about it, but it's an excellent leadoff man. He's going to turn 24 before next season. I don't like that for college basketball, right? When I watched BYU in the NCAA tournament, and there was a guy taking a free throw that looked, 30, and it turns out he was 25 turning 26 and wasn't even the oldest man in the rotation for BYU. I didn't like that because I think part of the joy of college basketball is these are younger adults. These are 18 to 22, 23-year-olds. And right before, what's the again, I throw a lot of facts out there that I read on the internet once, and I assume they're right. They say, like, your brain isn't fully developed till 25. I think that's
25, 26.
Something that's been said by somebody smarter than me. Like, part of it is these guys are out there and their brains aren't fully developed, right? They get rattled, and the coach has to coach them into calm and all those things. I don't like it for college basketball, but if you're a coach and you don't have a handful of 24-year-olds, if you can have them on your roster, you're giving up an advantage. This dude has seen some life, right? Coming out of high school. He, by the way, led like a powerful high school to state championships and everything else, was nationally ranked, the high school, but didn't have, I guess, the offers he wanted, did the post-grad year, ends up at Providence, doesn't have the production he wants there, ends up at McNeese State playing for this coach that he likes, blows out his knee, or at least injures his knee enough to not play the rest of the year after the first 2 games. Now he's going to NC State. This dude, to put it in perspective age-wise, is in Cade Cunningham's original high school recruiting class. He was number one.
The Detroit Pistons,
Yeah,
Cade Cunningham?
the guy that was the number 1 overall pick like a handful of years ago. For the local triangle, I'll give you guys each fan base a little bit of a mental timeline. He is in the same original recruiting class as Caleb Love and RJ Davis for UNC fans. He is in the original high school recruiting class as Jeremy Roach and Mark Williams for the Duke fans out there. For NC State fans is the best way I think we could kind of put a big marker on there. He would have been a sophomore or sophomore age. He was in the recruiting class the year before Terquavion Smith. That's how long this guy has been doing the post-grad thing, the college basketball thing. It's a cheat code for raising the floor of your team. It's a cheat code for raising the floor of your team. I don't know how much it raises your ceiling because there is a certain level of talent and a certain level of just ability you need if you're going to be a top level team. But you put a bunch of 24-year-olds out there that have lived life and have been in college weight rooms and college film rooms for half a decade, I believe it prevents catastrophe. I promise you, you are a better player after being in college for 4 years at darn near every sport. It's one of I played college football for 4 years, exhausted my eligibility. There was no way I could stick around for another year. I played my last game when I was 21 years old. And I felt like, goodness gracious, if I knew then at 21, right? If I knew what I knew then when I was 18 and coming in, I would have been so much better, right? Because you just gather information. These players get to do that. They get to enter into college as an 18 or 19-year-old, play 3 or 4 years, and instead of having the thought of, man, I wish I still had eligibility, they're going like, man, I still have eligibility. So if NC State, looking for a leadoff single, right? I believe they're going to swing for home runs. I believe Will Wade is going to go try to grab 5 stars. He's going to go try to grab somebody with a bigger, sizzly name. But if you're going to swing for home runs, get a couple guys on base first, right? Don't make it a solo shot, right? Hit a 3-run jack. Get a few of these floor raisers and then go get the ceiling raisers, right? That's kind of the way you build a team. And if you look at the best team, the one still playing in the Final Four, for the most part, that's how they're built. Right? Houston has 2 guys in their starting lineup that are lifelong Houston guys. out of high school. Then they have 3 that they grabbed, and they swung for the LJ Cryer, right? They swung for the fences on some of these. Duke has the super old 5th-year incoming transfers, and they have the ceiling raisers that are the super talented young guys. I think that's the way you build in modern college basketball. And I'm not saying the home runs have to be out of high school. You can go get a top transfer guy and also get transfer guys that are 23, 24 years old and raise the floor. By the way, for State fans out there, don't be surprised if Kadir Copeland ends up popping up on some recruiting radars for NC State.
Former Syracuse guard.
Played 2 years at Syracuse. State fans, you probably remember him from the ACC tournament during State's magical run to the Final Four. He was playing for Syracuse, and he talked a ton of trash. There will have to be, if he does end up transferring to State, some hey, we're all cool with everything we both said on both sides back then, right?
Hey, there's no one from that State team that's going to be left over. Let's be honest.
I'm thinking of the fans that said things on social media and the thing. So it's just kind of like, I'll forget it if you forget it.
Hey,
deal.
If they beat Carolina and he's a big part of it, they'll forgive.
Darn right. But he ended up at McNeese State last year and did play a big role in their little tourney run as well. So, and he entered into the portal earlier today. Would not be surprised if Will Wade makes a call there. So just keep your eyes on your ears open, if you will. Keep your ears open. I expect some fireworks and also some singles and doubles and bunts. And
real quick, speaking of fireworks and some home runs in the transfer portal, Louisville basketball is
Louisville's wrecking them
right
up.
now.
Just got Isaac McNeely from UVA. I can give you the names here because I have it pulled up. Talking transfer portal. Adrian Woolley from Kennesaw State, 5th best overall player in the transfer portal according to 247 Sports. Going to Louisville. Ryan Conwell, combo guard from Xavier. He is the 12th best player overall in the portal, going to Louisville. And Isaac McNeely from Virginia, the sharpshooter. He is the 14th best overall player, not just for their position, overall player. He is committed to Louisville. So they have 3 of the 14 best transfer players committed already to Louisville, according to 247 Sports. That's nothing to mess with. Also, I'm seeing Jay Lucas in Miami getting in the mix for a lot of guys. The ACC is not taking how this season went lying down. Nick Davidson, a 6'10 guy from Nevada, is committed to Clemson. There's dudes that are going to be heading into the ACC, which is good. Now I just need them going into the triangle so we can be the centerpiece. But hey, rising tide raises all boats. If Louisville and Clemson and Miami get better, guess what that means for the triangle? Better net rankings, baby. Good wins. Quad 1 opportunities. I hate that that's where my brain goes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to hear from many of you. Dennis has looked in the comment section, the social media comments, and everything else. He's found the best feedback, and we're going to bring it to light and respond. Something we call a feedback frenzy. Coming up.
This is Gordon Miller with Miller Lending and Cary, and I have a question. When it comes time to buy a house, do you just look at one? Probably not. So when it comes time to working with a lender, multiple surveys have shown that borrowers who requested multiple quotes were far more likely to receive better terms when compared to those who likely only spoke to one. So why Miller Lending? As a mortgage broker, we're not limited to only one lender, as is the case with your bank. We act as more of a one-stop shop. With access to over 24 lenders, it's not uncommon to receive multiple bids for your mortgage. Recently, we've saved numerous homeowners upwards of $10,000 or more in closing costs for the same interest rate they'd been quoted. Now, while you may think all lenders are the same, they aren't. So whether it's a no closing cost purchase, our highly competitive FHA, VA, or jumbo rate, see why thousands of satisfied clients have chosen Miller Lending as their lender for life. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds for winning range from 1 to 3.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. T&Cs apply.
Is your plumbing outdated or just not getting the job done? Call Newcomb & Company to see how we can help get your home operating at peak performance. Our experienced plumbers can repair or replace faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Costas Bear looking. Jarvis, he scores! Oh, mercy! Seth Jarvis hammering that one through Thompson and Carolina up 3-0. This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And this is also a weekly segment called Feedback Frenzy. This is where Dennis goes into our YouTube comments, our TikTok comments, our Instagram comments. By the way, follow and subscribe to all of our social media. Search 99.9 The Fan on whatever your social media of choice is to find our content. We are constantly working on that. And basically, he looks through all the comments, finds the best feedback, brings it to light on the show, and we respond. Dennis, what do you have for us?
All right, so yesterday we had a conversation about UNC basketball, getting a player out of the portal, Jonathan Powell from West Virginia, just conversations about UNC basketball as a whole. This one comes from Jim Robinson. These are our YouTube comments on the video from yesterday. Jim Robinson said, I guess I'm the last real UNC fan, have been for 55 years nonstop, good or bad. Things will turn around and all you losers will jump on the bandwagon. I was in Dayton with the real fans. So basically he's calling out other UNC fans, essentially, is what he's doing.
There's two things here. One, ironic to be like, I guess I'm the last fan, and then I was in Dayton with the real fans. It seems like, never mind. Listen, UNC is probably going to bounce back. But I don't think it's a bold prediction to say one of the most consistently successful programs in college basketball over the last century is going to once again be successful. The concerning part is it should never not be successful, right? To go full double negative. UNC has no business having a season like they just had. Oh, but their schedule was so tough. Yeah. You're North Carolina. Go full Walter White. Right? I'm not the one who has the tough schedule. I am the one who knocks. I am the tough schedule. Other teams have a tough schedule because they play me. That's how UNC fans should be thinking. Secondly, and this is going to become one of my pet. Like, you know how I hate tribute videos? There are certain things that just grind my gears. I've got a new one, and it's popping up a lot. I hate gatekeeping fans. I hate gatekeeping fans. If you don't remember the Matt Doherty years, you can't be a fan of UNC. I've been around, and I'm going like, listen, do you realize how good it is for your program if your fan base grows? Do you realize how important new fans are in college sports right now? If somebody was, I don't even care if they were like a fan of another team in your conference. If they've been a fan somewhere else for years and years and years, they move into the area and go, I'm going to be a UNC fan, and you yell at them that, well, you can't be because you don't remember Joe Forte, then I'm going to look at you and go, you're being ridiculous. You're hurting your team. You're making it less fun for people to be a fan of your team. And this goes for Canes. This goes for every sport. More fans, good. Don't be a weird bouncer to the fan club.
I always say don't gatekeep fandom.
I hate it. I hate it. Sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. We also had a question yesterday of why does this Duke basketball team feel less hated than in years past?
Not just us saying that. A lot of people are saying
yes. And we got some responses in that video saying, like, no, I still hate them because I'm a UNC fan. Like, we got a bunch of those, which, again, makes total sense.
I want that.
100%. This actually comes from Majesticon. Great name. On YouTube. Been a UNC fan since 6th grade in the 80s, and 3 reasons why Duke is less hateable this year. Number 1, Coach K is gone. And he threw in little parentheses, retired by UNC. Ha ha. Number 2, the white guys are likable. He's like, I'm looking to Cooper Flagg to be great so he can lead Team USA in possibly in 2032. I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. And also number 3, their tactics have been normalized with the portal and NIL being basically the norm now of college basketball. So what they're doing is no different than what anyone else is doing, because remember, Duke was so big early on of embracing the one and dones right after Calipari was doing it. So, but now what they do with getting players out of the portal and NIL, it's the same for everyone else.
I want to be very clear on this. When I say like this Duke team isn't as hateable, or for some reason people, I want UNC fans to hate Duke. I want Duke fans to hate. I want NC State fans to hate UNC. Like I want, as long as you're just hating the team and the basketball, and you're not like parking them, double parking them in and blocking them when they're like, don't make it like outside of basketball. But if you want to boo. Like I want rivalries. Secondly, I think there's a lot of UNC fans, or actually I don't want to say a lot of UNC, a lot of college sports fans that need to go back and like change their tweets from 15 years ago, if Twitter was around there, change their comments from 15 years ago from like bleep Duke to bleep Coach K. Because it seems like they really only dislike that guy. And now that he's gone, they're like, well, actually, Cooper Flagg is kind of likable. If Cooper Flagg was coached by Coach K, it seems like everybody would hate him. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but a lot of UNC fans are going like, well, this team isn't as bad. And it's like, okay, so you just disliked a guy rather than the squad.
I forget who it was in our YouTube live chat yesterday said a couple of reasons why Duke is less hateable this year is because you don't have all the flopping, you don't have all the whining, and also you don't have Coach K running up and down the court just berating people. I think that was, a lot of it was directed, I think some of it at Coach K. So I think, but again, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And Jon Scheyer is a lot less hateable as a coach than he was a player.
Did we see, we called it taking his glasses off. Did you see Hubert Davis getting up and down on the referees quite a bit during the ACC tournament?
Oh, yeah.
If that's the reason to not like somebody, you might have to turn your arrows in a different direction. No, it's cool because he was doing that for us. I get that too, but I'm just saying. What else you got?
Okay, so we had a conversation yesterday about the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. How do NFL teams, when it comes to drafting players, balance high college production versus the high-end potential with the physical traits? Yep. And if maybe they have one more than the other, vice versa. This one comes from multiple people, including Funkleberry. Jalen Walker, give us the Butkus Award winner. And also, this one comes from Sean McCreary. Jalen Walker at 8. Don't overthink this.
All right.
When it comes to edge rusher, if he's available, don't overthink it.
This is good here because I do think Jalen Walker is growing on me as the pick. If you do look at the Butkus Award winners of the past, there's some that went on to massive NFL careers. Luke Kuechly. There are some that have not, right? Isaiah Simmons. There are some that have not. Rolando McClain. There are some that have are still very young. Peyton Wilson. It's a grab bag, and that's kind of the crux of the argument, right? If you looked up the best college football players of all time, your favorite list of 50 college football players of all time, there's going to be some NFL Hall of Famers, and there's going to be some guys that flamed out of the league in 3 years. It's really tough to decide which production in college matters. I think Jalen Walker is a very good pick, though. I'm not going to make you overthink that one, if that's what you call it. I think he's a very good pick.
Brandon Sosby said Mykel Williams at number 8 is the mother of all reaches.
The issue is
that is like the opposite of like what Jalen Walker is.
I think there's 6 players that are, and I don't know, like I'm estimating here, like 6-ish players that are, I think, worthy of the 8th pick. Other than that, you're reaching. Like Mykel Williams, I believe, would be a reach at the 8th pick. If Jalen Walker's not there, if he goes number 6, I mean, I think McMillan would be a reach. I think the second corner, Jahdae Barron, would probably be a reach. I think there's a lot of reaches there. So if there's nobody worth the 8th pick and there's no one who wants to buy the pick from you in a trade, you just take whichever one is less of a reach, which I've told Dennis this. Mykel Williams, I don't like bashing players before the draft. Mykel Williams, I don't like, and it's one specific thing that I don't like. He is a massive athlete who is not violent at the tackle at all. He sheds off a 320-pound offensive tackle with one arm. He opens up his gate to chase down the running back, and then he gets to the running back and bumps into him and wraps up and kind of falls over slowly. I'm like, Dad, you did all that cool athletic stuff to get there and not lay the boom? Jalen Walker, on the other hand, he might be 20 pounds lighter. You know when he arrives, he'll throw around that 243, which is why I'd like him. I like my edge rushers. I like my front 7 to be violent individuals on the field. Mykel Williams doesn't appear to be that, which is kind of a bummer.
Okay, last one here. This one comes from Brandon R. in our YouTube live chat, actually already on today's show. We had a lot of conversations about the Carolina Hurricanes, their win last night, also the big chippiness and everything that took place in their game against the Washington Capitals last night. Brandon says, my favorite thing about last night is we had the least fighting penalties all season, and suddenly the media is painting the Canes as though they are a bunch of dirty players laying hits every single game, including people saying Chatfield has always been a dirty player, and Brandon asked the question, when?
Well, never for Chatfield, the answer.
Yeah.
You know what? It's kind of lovely. Kind of lovely. You know why? You had the reputation of being a big bad bully, and you didn't actually have to, throw that many punches. It's kind of perfect, right? Now you use it. Be intimidating. Walk in with boxing gloves on and eye black and look menacing. They're like, ooh, that's the team that with all the penalties. They actually don't. I'm gonna bring you one real quick here, Dennis. I when the news today came out that Jalen Chatfield likely won't face any punishment for the slew foot, the hip toss, whatever you want to call it. I put out a tweet that said, buckle up for next Thursday when the Canes go visit the Caps. Not much time to let all this simmer, right? It's going to happen very quickly. Our guy Micah immediately commented, I bet we call up Stillman for that game.
Yeah.
No need for them taking runs at Slavin. Do you think they changed the lineup at all to make sure certain guys stay out of the ruckus?
Our guy Mike actually interacted with me as well because I posted and said if Connor McMichael, who initiated that fight with Jalen Chatfield yesterday, wants his pound of flesh, then it should be McMichael and Chatfield again, not someone else like Tom Wilson or anybody like going after Chatfield. If McMichael wants to handle his business, then he can handle his business. And he said the same thing to me. Micah did. I think you take Slavin out, Chatfield could sit, put Stillman and Morrow in. I told him, I said, I don't think you take guys out of the lineup because I think that shows Washington that you're scared of them. Yep. Now, I think Rod will make sure that none of these guys are in a bad spot, but the last thing you want to do, especially if you want to throw Scott Morrow into a game like that, last thing you want to do is throw a rookie into that because guess what? Now rookie gets – some people are taking runs at him, and he's not ready for it.
Yep.
But no, you don't take those guys out of the lineup because, again, it shows that you might be a little scared. I don't want to get hit.
Yeah, I think that's you may be doing it because you don't trust Washington not to be stupid. but it comes across as you doing it because you don't think they can handle it. Right? Slavin knows what he's doing. Slavin can avoid it or be in the middle of it, and we won't even know, the subtle thing. Let's not act like Slavin is a Bambi out there on the ice, right? This guy's been around a bit. If there were more people to be concerned about, I think it would be Chatfield. I think it would be Stankoven. I think it would be some guys that aren't used to being in those situations that were kind of the main characters in it. And yes, know where Tom Wilson is. Just head on a swivel. Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting five coming up, but first, don't forget, starting this Monday, it's back, baby! Listen to 99.9 The Fan every afternoon starting Monday during the drive. That is this show right here for your chance to see the Storm Surge in person. It's our annual 10K playoff payout where you can try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck and take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. I feel like that has to be said like an old school game show where the crowd chants it. $10,000. Listen for the 10K playoff payout. And remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today and tune into the show on Monday to find out more. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, as promised, has the starting five up next. Jalen Chatfield not suspended. Should he have been? Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
If I could have made more in my last year in college than I did in my rookie year and still have that real-world freedom without real-world responsibility by staying in college, I'd be a dangerous man. I would have stayed in college and I would have been a dangerous man.
That's a blessing for me. I didn't.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Joint pain in your knees, shoulders, or lower back. It can stop you in your tracks. At DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, we offer a revolutionary course of treatment that can eliminate your joint pain and have you back to your old self in no time. Our regenerative therapies actually help repair damaged tissue to eliminate the pain without risky, invasive surgery. If you suffer with joint pain and have been told your only options are medications, steroid injections, or surgery, DaVita Med Spa and Wellness offers non-surgical solutions using your body's own cells with minimal downtime and long-lasting results. Experience personalized, compassionate medical care at its best. Call our office now and see how you can get real, long-lasting relief from joint pain through regenerative medicine and the medical experts at DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, spelled D-V-I-D-A. Call 984-333-1313. That's 984-333-1313. 984-333-1313.
What did you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. Temperatures are on the rise. We jumped into the 80s today. Warm tonight. The low only 68. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy. It's hotter. It's humid. Our high at 90. It's breezy as well. Still hot on Saturday. The high at 90.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell this afternoon down 1,679 points to 40,545. Market update brought to you by Lufthansa. Lufthansa is excited to take off from Raleigh Durham International Airport, connecting you to destinations like Germany, Italy, India, and beyond. Say yes to incredible journeys. Book today at Lufthansa.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five, so let's go ahead and jump into it, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chatfield being challenged behind the play, and Chatfield is not going to back down from Connor McMichael. Chatfield trying to get the arm loose. The linesmen are going to let him go. Chatfield swings down McMichael. Brute strength.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So that was what it sounded like here on 99.9, the home for Hurricanes hockey, when Jalen Chatfield threw McMichael to the ground, to the ice, I should say. Which drew a whole bunch of controversy. People saying Chatfield should be suspended. It was a dirty throw. Insanely dirty. It was dirty. It was dirty. Listen, I'd be fine if the NHL today did suspend him for a game. I wouldn't argue back aggressively. Jalen Chatfield's not a fighter. And he accepted the invitation to fight. And he did kind of sling him to the ground, and his leg was out there kind of tripping him and whatever. I also think part of those types of moves in hockey, in sports in general, are you are willing to sacrifice whatever punishment comes your way to send your message, right? Like, hey, everybody on my team's fighting, I'm fighting. If I do something that draws a punishment, guess what? I'm willing to eat that punishment because my team needed me to have their back. I told Dennis, and Dennis had already heard it, but I regurgitated this story off air today. From Greg Maddux. It's one of my favorite Greg Maddux stories. I think beanballs in baseball are stupid, but I still love this story. At the end of Greg Maddox's rookie year with the Cubs, wasn't playing well, wasn't pitching well. The team reportedly, and this is a Rick Sutcliffe telling this story, who was the ace at the time for the Cubs. The team gave him an ultimatum. You either win your next start or we're sending you back down to the minors. He goes out in his next start, and in the third inning, the Padres hit Andrei Dawson, the Cubs' best player, right? Their leader, their dude. Hit him in the face. He was kind of motionless on the plate. Stood up, spit blood, chased after the pitcher. Greg Maddux is in the dugout. Rick Sutcliffe comes up to him and says, Greg, you need to win this game or else they're sending you to the minors. It's not something to mess around with. Get at least through the 5th inning so it's an official win if we win the game for you, and then do whatever you want. This is the 3rd inning. Greg Maddux looked at him with tears in his eyes, said, I don't care if I never win another game. Went out there, first batter, Benito Santiago, the catcher for the Padres, smoked him in the back. Earned the respect of the team, got ejected, got sent down to the minors. Guess what? Later that season, after Greg Maddux was called back up, they're playing against the Houston Astros. Nolan Ryan's on the mound. The Cubs look at it, go, we got a rookie pitcher up against prime Nolan Ryan. Sounds like a prime day to give our stars some rest. Andrei Dawson, all the big dogs on the batting lineup get the day off. Andre Dawson walks up to the lineup card, doesn't ask the manager, doesn't ask the GM, crosses out all the backups, writes in all the stars' names on some he had my back, now we're going to have his back up against Nolan Ryan. The reason I bring up that story is because Greg Maddux, if he was Greg Maddux, multiple-time Cy Young winner with the Braves, he could hit whoever he wants, and the other pitchers or the other hitters are going to go all right, Greg did it, nice, appreciate it, because there's no stakes there. The fact that he did it to his own personal detriment, to the fact that it was going to throw him down to the minors, meant more to the rest of the team. Same with this, right? You go into a fight, you win, you lose, whatever. If there's punishment, you eat that because you weren't thinking about what it was going to do to you at that time. You were thinking about what you needed to do for your team at that time. Now, I'm glad Jalen Chatfield wasn't suspended because he's got an entire track record of not being that guy. And I do think once you drop the gloves, you're a bit in the Wild Wild West, right? You try to be within the code, but if you're not, well. That's kind of the way.
We see that code broken all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
All the time.
You try to, but if you don't, you got to eat that next time. So it's. I don't have a problem with him not being suspended. I wouldn't have a problem if he was. And I think Jalen Chatfield, part of the act of doing it is you saying, I'm going to eat whatever these consequences are for the thing I need to do for my team. That's my point on it all. Next time. Because McMichael wasn't even throwing punches, if we're being real. It was a really weird... He instigated it and then was kind of...
kind of through one?
Turtle shelling the whole time. Just... I guess keep punching him in the face. That's the honorable thing to do.
There's that.
I don't know. Do that next time if I have some advice. As number 5... Actually, I want to play this just because we haven't played it yet. Rod Brindamore was asked if the extra stuff in the game brings the team closer together, which is part of the narrative of it all.
Well, I don't know. That's what you always say when, you win the game and there's a couple scraps and everybody. I don't know. We're pretty tight already. I don't know that made it any better. But I think, we said, we know now we're in. That was an official, and I like that we went and took it. We didn't just, get it handed to us. So it was a good game. It was a good effort. Listen, they played last night. I don't know what they're really playing for anymore, maybe first overall, but everybody knows that's, so that's probably why we caught them at the start.
I'm going to throw a reversal. Ready? I don't think fighting brings you closer together. I think when one of your guys has a beef and you fight, it shows that you're already close. Right? Because I don't risk the personal injury if I don't care about the guy next to me. I have to already care about him. I'm not going out there and risking the personal injury, then going back to him hey, shouldn't we be friends now? We're going to have to already be friends for me to risk the personal injury. That's number 5. Let's go to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Bounce pass, Jackson. Down low, Delaney Thomas open for 2. What a beautiful find.
What great execution on that screen and roll. Delaney with the easy bucket.
The ACC Women's Basketball Tournament is moving for the 2026 year, which is next year, to Duluth, Georgia. It will not be played in Greensboro. I'm actually, Dennis, are you really upset about it? You pressed the boo button.
Yes.
I am.
Duluth, Georgia, which is a suburb well outside of Atlanta.
I wish it stayed in Greensboro, but I get it. I do.
What's the get about it? I don't get it.
It's what did we say about Duke playing in Raleigh to open their first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament? Practically a home game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be cool if I were so many of the other ACC teams that the North Carolina teams get practically a home game in a conference tournament where the conference is supposed to be taking care and looking out for everybody. So if Georgia Tech and Louisville and Miami and all them roses stink about why are we always going into their backyard to play the tournament, I get that. And if every once in a while you have to go somewhere else to appease them and keep a happy ACC, I get it. I don't have to like it to understand it, right? It's like eating vegetables. I don't have to like it, but you do it to stay healthy, right? If you got to every once in a while eat a vegetable and go to Duluth, Georgia for an ACC tournament in order to keep a healthy ACC, Okay. The men's team does it, what was it, last year we were in D.C., they go Charlotte, they go Greensboro, they move it around a little bit. Probably at some point in time you'll have to go closer to the West Coast teams, but make them earn their stripes first. I get it. I'll put it this way. I played at the University of Delaware. And at the time, the CAA it's been renamed. It used to be the Colonial Athletic. Now it's the Coastal. Delaware isn't even in it anymore. But the conference I played in, it was Delaware, a couple teams up north. But Virginia was William and Mary, Richmond, JMU, ODU. All. If we had like a football tournament and I had to go to like Harrisonburg, I would not have been super stoked about it. Right? I would have been like, well, this is kind of messed up. Why am I going to play a home game for them? And it's, especially if like we're the 1 seed, which we would have been. That would be frustrating for me. So I get it. But also Greensboro ACC, it's kind of synonymous. So I can want what I want while understanding what I understand. I am a living oxymoron. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Hey, Wolfpack Nation, this is Will Wade. I'm excited to land in Raleigh. We're on the plane, ready to go. Go Pack.
This has now happened twice. Twice in the last 6 months. There is a super high-profile, super buzzworthy head coaching hire in the Triangle. And I think my and a lot of expectations are that, like, the moment they sign to be the head coach, goodness gracious, the waterfall of fireworks just spreading over the program. When Bill Belichick signed to be the head coach of UNC and when Will Wade signed to be the head coach of NC State basketball, I was like, this is it. Everybody's going to want to play for them. Oh, they've got this new commitment of finances. Just wait to see what. And then if you remember, the first commitment for UNC football after Bill Belichick was a offensive lineman from Holy Cross. And the first commitment for NC State basketball after the hiring of Will Wade is a guy that played 2 games last year before getting hurt for McNeese State. And it's like, well, I mean, I was expecting like a couple of 5 stars to be waiting at the gate to rush into the program as soon as you were the head coach. But yeah, it was a good hire. No, you need offensive linemen and you need, depth shooters and veteran players. Like, it's good. But just blink twice if you have something bigger in the works. Like, that's kind of where we're at with both programs, right? And that's where I'm at with Will Wade right now. Alan Beard, Alyn Breed is the way to actually say that. Breed. Transfer from McNeese State, commits to NC State. I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. Cool, Will, great job. Hey, blink twice if something bigger's in the works. Like, just give me something. I mean, I like that. Don't get me wrong, I like it. He's a good player. He's gonna be 24 by the first game next year. Like, you brought in a dude, fill out the roster. I like it, but this isn't like the main show, right? This is just the opening act, right? Because like part of what Will Wade brought to State and part of what he continues to bring to State is this hope and this promise of something more. Remember his intro presser, right? Where's the camera? Make sure you record this. We will be in the top part of the ACC. We will be in the NCAA tournament next year. And everyone's like, yeah. First thing we have to do, get a player that averaged 4 points per game for Providence a couple years ago. There you go. It's like, okay, all right. That's number 1 on the to-do list. What's number 2? Incomplete, right? Incomplete. I think one of the hardest parts of being a college basketball fan right now is understanding that until the ball is tipped in the first game, the offseason ain't over, right? And a roster is continuously being tweaked. There was a point in time not that long ago, after signing day, you looked at the roster and decided how good you thought the team was going to be. And that's the team that you had come first game. Now it's, well, there's a portal entry. You might lose guys to the portal. You got high school guys that are signed on signing day might decommit, might show up on campus, might want a red shirt, might like it's the roster is much more a constantly living, breathing organism than it was in the past. So it's hard to like make hard and fast decisions until that first game is tipped. And even then, right? Even then, we've seen guys for state football playing in games raise their hand and say, I would like to stop playing so I can transfer, please. Like, middle of the season. Starting quarterbacks did that. So, we'll see. Will Wade, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. My patience isn't the best, but I'll try. That's number 3. Let's head to number 2.
Just the two of us.
The Charlotte Hornets.
LaMelo Ball. Would you say he's the star of the Hornets?
Yeah, he's the face of that franchise right now.
Brandon Miller probably, working to get into that category.
For sure.
The star for the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball, done for the year, having both wrist and ankle surgery.
Yeah, team announced yesterday arthroscopic surgery, like you said, on the ankle and wrist. Time to plant the flag.
Yeah,
time to capture the flag.
This is about
100%.
This is about. Seems like one of those things where, right, he's going to be out like 4 or 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, whatever.
They said 5-6 weeks he'll be back to normal basketball activity, which 5-6 weeks from now, their regular season is going to be long done.
Usually, if it's a 5 or 6 week recovery, you could have waited till the beginning of the offseason to do it. But hey, why wait if you can work to get Cooper Flagg better chances? Which, by the way, it's spreading. Capture the flagitis.
Yeah,
it's spreading.
It's out there.
I've said this before. I don't admit it publicly too often, but I am a Sixers fan. Sixers shut down Tyrese Maxey due to some injuries. They shut down Joel Embiid due to some injuries. There's some capture the flagitis going across 7 or 8 teams in the NBA, making sure that their odds to draft Cooper Flagg do not get worse from this point forward. And here's why that's a big deal. This is the way I've seen, and I have, I'm still NFL draft before I'm NBA draft. We got time. But the things I've read about the NBA draft, it's a one-man tier, right? It is Cooper Flagg, Gap, other good players. It's not bad players, but it's a one-man tier. So it's not like, hey, shoot for Cooper. If you miss, you land amongst the other, close prospects nearby. It is very much shoot for Cooper. If you miss, darn it. So there's capture the flag is a big deal.
The Hornets are trying to chase down the Washington Wizards and Utah Jazz for worst record in the league.
Are they in third?
They are third worst team in the league right now.
I believe the way the lottery works, the bottom 3 teams have the same chances at the number 1 pick.
So let's keep it there. Let's go. Let's hold off the Pelicans.
Exactly. So defending your real estate in the bottom 3. The crazy part is I think it's like 14%. It seems like it should be more, but
let's capture that flag.
That'd be really fun for fans of Cooper Flagg to go from Duke right up there to Charlotte. It would be really fun. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
Go one! Ostisbear looking. Jarvis, he scores! Oh, mercy! Seth Jarvis hammering that one through Thompson and Carolina up 3-0.
Canes went on to win that game against Washington with a whole bunch of other storylines. They are now 75-5. Shout out to @CaneStats on Twitter. 75-5 in regular season games that Seth Jarvis scores. Keep feeding him the puck. For more details on last night's game, here is Adam Gold with 2 minutes of gold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 topics, 2 power play goals, and 2 big saves as the Hurricanes picked up 2 huge points over the Washington Capitals and clinched their 7th straight playoff spot. I apologize for the stray number 7 in a sea of 2s. You can discover why Parkway Sleep Health Centers are the trusted place for better sleep. Here we go. Let's start in net where Freddie Anderson was the man. My first star today. What a run it's been. 8 straight games. He has allowed 2 goals or less, and it started very early in the first.
Now here comes a chance for Leonard out in front. Anderson with the save as he denies Brodus.
Brodus, 30 goals. What a save. I mean, I talk about those pinball flipper pads that are so quick for a big guy. Terrific stop.
If Alexi Protas goes to 31 goals on the season, the Hurricanes are behind. As it turns out, the Canes got the first goal and then the first of 2 Jackson Blake power play markers.
Second chance, they score! Jackson Blake gets to the rebound, and the rookie pounds it home. And Carolina has a 2-0 lead with a power play goal. He's winning clean. Blake on the backhand, and he scores! Oh, he put his hand in the cookie jar and came away with one. Another power play goal for Carolina. It's 5-1.
So that Blake goal made it 5-1. But way back in the second period, with Alexander Ovechkin looking for number 892, then Anderson came up with the good.
Michael trying to make a move around Burns, and out in front, Mr. Anderson denying Alexander Ovechkin.
Oh, baby, what a moment.
Ovi was going to get his. It took a crazy, bogus 5-on-3 power play for him to get it, but he's at 892, and the Hurricanes are at 96 points, and they are driving through the tape. They look like a team that is going to be a postseason factor. We'll see. But 2 big points last night as the Hurricanes clinched their 7th straight postseason bid. Parkway Sleep Health Centers, sound sleep, sound health, and sound off for a 7 straight playoff bid.
Thank you very much to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold. Obviously, the fights at the end take up quite a bit of column space, column inches. I don't even know if people still talk like that. It's old school journalism. Blogosphere area. Dennis, I'm going to throw 3 things at you from last night's game.
Okay, hit me.
And I want you to rank them in order of goodness for the Canes.
Okay.
All right. So it's like, which ones are the bigger deal that we should get more excited about?
Okay.
I'm not going to put them in any order. You're going to rank them 1, 2, and 3. You can go 3, 2, 1, whichever you want. Number 1, how Freddie played in net.
Okay.
Number 2, Jackson Blake finding the back of the net a couple times.
Okay.
Number 3, power play getting 3 goals.
I'm going to go 1 power play.
Okay.
Because they've scored power play goals in 5 straight games. The fact that they got 3 last night, and they also showed if another team wants to push you around and take penalties, well, guess what? You're going to get cooked because if another team's power play is that threatening, it forces teams to not push you around as much and a little bit more fearful of taking penalties. So to me, that's number 1 because you want that power play grooving going into the playoffs. Second, I'm going to actually go Jackson Blake as number 2 because the fact that he got a goal a couple games ago against Montreal, he got 2 tonight, or last night I should say, first career multi-goal game for him. To me, he's been playing really well. We had talked about it, just not actually finding the puck in the back of the net. And the fact that it has now, it seems like the top is off, which I think is a big thing for him going into the playoffs as well. And I'm going to put Freddie third for the simple fact that we've seen great regular season Freddie Anderson a lot. And when he's great, he is awesome. There's always a question mark, all right, what's playoff Freddie going to look like?
I have I always do this. I kind of set something up like breaking news and then go, this is not breaking news.
Okay.
The Canes have recalled forward Justin Robidas.
That doesn't surprise me. We're going to talk about Andrei Svechnikov not playing in the third period because of an upper body injury at 5:45.
All right, there you go. That's what I was looking for from you, Dennis, is a little bit of a tease. That is coming up at 5:45 here on The Drive. And I brought that up without thinking of what it could possibly read between the lines, and now my brain is cranking away with. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions.
It's one of the underlying things that is kind of missed from everything that happened last night is that Andrei Svechnikov didn't play in the third period because of an upper body injury, and Rod yesterday said that he doesn't think it was a re-aggravation of the time that he missed, the 7 or so games that he missed. Like it may have been something a little bit different, and he feels like it's precaution, but it's concerning.
There it is. Again, I'm going to do my best not to let my imagination run away with me. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. While I try to talk myself out of those intrusive thoughts, Dennis Cox has some info for you.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, it's that time. You got to go to caniacsbike.com. You're running out of time. April 6th, this Sunday, is your deadline to enter to win a custom Caniacs motorcycle that the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes have all teamed up to give one lucky fan to. Again, it's a custom Caniacs motorcycle. You have to go to caniacsbike.com. That's how you enter to win. Beautiful weather like this. I love going out on my motorcycle, riding around. It's one of the things that I enjoy most doing in my free time. And you can be rolling around town on a one-of-one custom-built Caniacs motorcycle. It can be yours if you go to caniacsbike.com. That's where you register. That's where you enter to win. Go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com. Custom-built motorcycle right here in Raleigh at Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson. Custom painted at Shiny Side Paint. Has Cane's colors and logos and a bunch of different cool details all across the motorcycle. Again, made and put together right here in Raleigh. It is custom built, one of one. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. By the way, real quick, if you win the motorcycle, hit me up. We'll go out for a ride together.
There it is, the Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We need some numbers game contestants because we have some tickets to see Disturbed with Daughtry and Nothing More at the Lenovo Center on April 14th that we want to give to the winner. So call in now. We need 2 contestants to play the numbers game. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to win the numbers game and get the Disturbed tickets. It's coming up next.
We're in the middle of the madness.
It came to Maluach to throw it down.
From the first 4 to the national championship.
Good night. Cooper Flag takes the lead to 18.
All the hoops action will be heard here.
For the Blue Devils, the Final Four is calling yet again.
The road to San Antonio is driven by Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, Fairway Green, and First Horizon Bank. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know, my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes!
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as one day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. But first, before we welcome on Brian in Holly Springs and Patrick and Garner, they're our contestants for today. All of you have a chance to win because starting Monday, it's back. Listen to 99.9 The Fan every afternoon starting Monday during this show, The Drive, for your chance to see the Storm Surge in person. It's our annual 10K playoff payout. Try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck and take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. Listen for the 10K playoff payout. There you go. Listen for the 10K playoff payout. And remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. Now, Brian in Holly Springs and Patrick and Gardner, as we mentioned, are the contestants for today. The prize, tickets to see Disturbed with Daughtry and Nothing More coming up later this month. Brian in Holly Springs, you're up first. You have to answer our intro question. Are you ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
All right, the question is, yesterday we talked about the McDonald's All-American game kind of losing its sizzle. So I want to ask you, what is the best all-star game in sports? Which one is the best you would watch? You know, if you could only watch one, that's the one you would choose.
I'd say baseball.
All right. Do you want to give an explanation why?
It kind of goes hand in hand with the home run derby and everything like that. It just makes for a good weekend.
All right. Solid answer, Brian. We'll see if Dennis picks that as his favorite. Patrick and Gardner, welcome to the show. You are up next. Same question to you. What is the best all-star game in all of sports?
I have to go with NBA.
And why?
Well, it was more back in the day, but I used to love all the good dunk contests and when people actually played hard. You know, you've seen some really good games where all the all-stars really balling out, nothing back.
All right. Appreciate the explanation. Dennis, it is now on you. Which one are you going with?
Oh, this is a tough one. Because I used to love NBA All-Star Game back in the day for all the reasons that Patrick said. It was great. The top guys always compete in the dunk contest and all those kinds of things. But unfortunately, NBA All-Star Weekend it's lame. Nowadays, it's just lame. Call it what it is. At least with baseball, there's still baseball being played. Obviously, not going to slide in to break up double plays or anything along those lines. But so I think, honestly, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is probably, and the Home Run Derby, it's probably the best one of the two answers that we got. So I'm going to go Brian and Holly Springs on this one.
All right, Brian and Holly Springs. By the way, I used to argue that the McDonald's All-American game was like a low-key entry into that.
Oh, absolutely. I used to love the McDonald's All-American game. It was like your first taste of seeing the next stars of college basketball.
Not anymore. Brian and Holly Springs, you get to go first. Are you ready to pick your category?
Yeah, talk to me.
All right, the categories are NFL players from the state of South Carolina, NFL players with the last name Smith, NBA players with multiple 50-point games, or NHL players, Canes and Hurricanes, or NHL players. I almost said Canes and Hurricanes only. NHL players, Hurricanes only. Those are the categories. Which would you like?
What was the second one again?
NFL players with the last name Smith.
Let's do it.
All right. NFL players, all last name Smith. This category kind of speaks for itself. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No, let her up.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Emmitt Smith, Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh. 16.
Incorrect. Geno Smith, Seattle Seahawks.
12.
Incorrect. Emmitt Smith, Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, geez. We're going way back now. 32.
Incorrect. Geno Smith, Seattle Seahawks.
No, I'm going to take a pass.
Devontae Smith, Philadelphia Eagles.
I got nothing on that one.
Emmitt Smith pretty famously wore number 22. You said we're going way back. That makes me feel very old. Emmitt Smith played yesterday. What are you talking about?
I know. Hey, I'm 54. I watch them all the time, but lost the number.
All right, number 22. Geno Smith with the Seahawks wore number 7, and you didn't really get a chance to answer, but after your pass, I did say Devontae Smith with the Eagles. He wears number 6. You do have a chance still, because by way of going first, if there's 2 zeros, you win the tiebreaker. So stay on the line. We'll see if you escape with a victory there. For those, this always pops into my head with Emmitt Smith. There was a commercial for something like 10 years ago where he's talking to the camera for a long time, and then he logs into his computer, and his password was Catch22. And for whatever reason, every time I'm like, what number is Emmitt Smith? That commercial pops. I don't know what the commercial was for, but I can't get it out of my head. That one, what do you get? You got 0. Duh. That brings us to Patrick and Garner. Patrick, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players from the state of South Carolina, NBA players with multiple 50-point games, or NHL Hurricanes only.
NFL players from South Carolina.
All right. Dennis, you're going to have to explain some things after this, so just be
That's
ready
fine.
for that.
I'm ready.
All right, the way this category works, I'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need to get at least 1 correct for the win. Any questions before we get started?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Your time will start when you hear the horn. A.J. Green, Cincinnati Bengals.
85.
Incorrect. Deebo Samuel, San Francisco 49ers.
19.
Correct. Xavier Legette, Carolina Panthers.
18.
Incorrect. A.J. Green, Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, Ocho Cinco. 85.
Incorrect. Xavier Legette, Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. 90.
Incorrect. A.J. Green, Cincinnati Bengals.
18.
It doesn't matter if it was before or after the buzzer. You did get it right, though. A.J. Green, 18. You were in a mind pretzel thinking that A.J. Green was Chad Johnson.
Yeah,
you were like, Ocho Cinco, baby, 85. And it was A.J. Green. It was not Chad Ocho Cinco. Xavier Legette, 17 is the number we were looking for. But you did get Deebo Samuel, and that's technically all you needed for the win. So congratulations, you get the tickets.
Yeah.
There you go. Appreciate you for playing. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. Dennis, before you get the info from the caller, the winner.
Yeah.
The categories originally, the ones with the players from South Carolina, were NFL players. Dennis will never get invited to dinner here.
Yeah.
And then the other was NFL players. Dennis can get a meal here, and they were all players from Virginia. I had somebody on Twitter asking, why is Dennis not invited to dinner with the players? And I
in South Carolina?
Yes. So I wanted to give you a chance to explain that.
Well, quickly. I don't want to be. Their barbecue stinks. Their state stinks. North Carolina is so much better than South Carolina. Why would I ever want to go to South Carolina?
There you go. That's what you need to know. That's the answer. He doesn't like South Carolina.
The roads suck. You ever tried to drive down 85?
Do you remember when you originally kind of had these thoughts?
You know, Tim, we don't have much time left. Do you have to do a Miller Lending read for the people?
I do have to talk about Miller Lending. So we'll avoid that bucket of worms, can of worms, whatever the saying is, and I will begin talking about Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending, and of course that includes Gordon Miller. Rates, they fall, they rise, they fall, they rise. One thing that is consistent, Gordon Miller and Miller Lending, no matter what the market does, and I know today has been a volatile day, and there's some people that are very concerned, no matter what happens, Gordon Miller and Miller Lending will be there getting you the best rates they possibly can because they are a broker and they can go shop around for the best rate at many different lenders, and they will be offering a no closing cost loan, which is something not everybody does and darn near nobody does regardless of what the market is, right? No matter what happens, they're offering a no closing cost loan, and that is why you should give him a call. Gordon Miller's been doing no closing cost loans since 1987, which means he's pretty much perfected it. And he's brought it all right here into our area where they are locally owned right there in Cary. Give them a call if you're interested, 919-447-3377. I'll give you that number one more time, 919-447-3377. 888-866-3377 or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, Andrei Svechnikov did not finish the game for the Canes last night. How concerned are you? How big of a deal is that? And more next.
Welcome home from Baker Home Exteriors. Your home is not just where you live, it's where life happens. We're proud to continue Baker Roofing's century-long legacy of excellence, bringing that same dedication to your home. Whether it's roofing, siding, gutters, or more, we transform houses into the homes you've always dreamed of. Your home deserves nothing less. Visit BakerHomeExteriors.com and let's build something beautiful together. That's BakerHomeExteriors.com.
Heineken Silver is a world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. It keeps things light and refreshing all year round. It's like rain showing up to cool things off and then politely leaving. It's like cracking open a window and nailing the cross breeze. So, as we move into the warmer weather, grab a crisp and refreshing Heineken Silver and taste the difference. Only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Available at your local Heineken retailer or for delivery at Heineken.com/silver now. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's hockey season, baby. I live and work on both coasts, and here's the deal. There's nothing like Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, including half-price pizzas Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and $6 Jamesons on Sunday. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be-in-the-room-with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book and the very best place to bet on sports because we have a loaded sports calendar coming up. We're less than a week away from that tournament in Georgia, the NCAA tournament. And we've got Major League Baseball in full swing. So whether you're into any of these sports or others, Dinger Tuesdays, Hump Day parlays, golf profit boost tokens are there galore for you. So, new customers, $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com/AdamGold. That's FanDuel.com/AdamGold and make every moment more and more profitable with FanDuel. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Last night, the Canes beat the Capitals. they also had more penalty minutes in a home win than in any other game in franchise history. So there was a lot going on, okay? Which made it easy to miss the fact that Svech didn't play in the third period and wasn't even on the bench, because there were a bunch of guys that weren't on the bench, mostly guys that were sent to the locker room early with 10-minute penalties, right? Like they were sent there, or there were guys in the box, or there were guys on the ice, and it was very difficult to keep track of where everybody was supposed to be. So you might not have noticed that Svech wasn't really in the mix, but he was held out, and I believe it was upper body injury. That's the what we've been given. That's the detail. First of all, I am not a superstitious person. I go out of my way to make sure I am not a superstitious person. But if I was, this is on you, everybody that was like, why not Svech be the healthy extra? Why not Svech be the one that held out? And I'm going like, that's not going to happen. But now if he's hurt, he obviously will be held out, and you'll get your wish, and you'll see that he is a talented player that you need to have in your lineup. That's on you. But I'm not superstitious, so I don't blame you for saying those things. And it's, part of hockey is guys get hurt. Dennis, how big of a deal is this? How concerned are you?
7.
7 out
7 out of 10.
Okay.
That's my level of concern for this one, just because you want him to be healthy going into the playoffs, because Svech at his best will help Carolina. It's as simple as that. When he plays his best, he helps the Carolina Hurricanes win games. Now, question is, are you going to get that on a night in and night out basis? But I'd much rather have the chance of him being at his best helping my team win than him not playing at all.
And not only does Svech at his best help you, the things that Svech brings are not things that a bunch of other people on the roster bring. Right? It's would you rather have Svech out there or, the Jarvises? Like, of course you'd rather have the Jarvis. But if you need somebody to be heavy, if you need someone to be physical, then yeah, you know what? You probably would choose Svech over a lot of other guys. Right? There's when you put together a roster, and we've talked about this in so many different sports, and I'm not breaking news to Eric Tulsky. Like, he knows this. He's been around the game, and he's forgotten more about hockey than I'll ever know. But you're not just assembling the best players. You're assembling the best fits. And Svech does, when he's playing his best, fit in a way that the team needs. And when you're a team that is judged on the postseason, like the Canes are, because they've accomplished everything you can accomplish in the regular season, when you're a team that's made the postseason for 7 straight years, like the Canes have, as of last night when they clinched their postseason berth, you're judged by how far you make it in the postseason. And part of that is your ceiling, right? You have to play your best. You have to play your A game. You need some things to break your way in order to make it to a conference championship, in order to make it to a Stanley Cup final. Part of that is, for the Canes, you need Svech. Now, I've said this on air, and this is, like going all the way to the furthest walk of this. If you don't like Svech, if you don't think he's a good player, if you don't think he brings what so many believe he brings, you don't wish that he's not in the lineup. You trade him, right? That's an off-season thing, because there will be a line of people around the league that think they can get the best out of Svech. The other part is this. Dennis went right to, like, the best version of Svech helps this team a bunch. I agree. I also think, like, the 70% version of Svech dramatically increases, like, your fourth line, right? Like there's a place for him in the lineup, whether he's playing well or not, because he is so physically talented. Now, the injury of it all, it's just more unknown. Right now, obviously, like, Rod Brindamore knows more about the injury than we do, and he's not going to give us any kind of indication because it's hockey and you don't have to. But, you want to have your plans in order. You want to know what you do, what your plan A, plan B, plan C is going into the postseason. And if there is some uncertainty there, it makes it more difficult. It just does. Luckily, they've shuffled around lines a few times, right? The trade deadline, whatever you want to call the do-si-do of the 7 weeks before the trade deadline. They've had a bunch of different lines run out there this year, so a lot of guys have pretty good chemistry with each other. However, let me throw this at you. Let's say William Carrier comes back, right? He's been skating no contact jersey with the team as of late and during practices and skates and things. I don't believe he's been on the ice since Taylor Hall and Stankoven and these guys have shown up.
He's not.
Jankowski. So there's at least some chemistry building that still has to take place, and you'd like to have everybody healthy if you can. So miss me with the jokes about guys that get hurt. That's basically what I'm getting at here. Svech is frustrating, don't get me wrong. And the penalties, goodness gracious, frustration, yes. But there's no way the team improves or even puts themselves in a better spot of any kind with Svech hurt. And especially in a game like last night where it felt like everything was going right. You get the fights at the end. That's kind of in its own category. But it's definitely like the opposite of a silver lining on a game that you pretty much dominated if you lose Svech for any period of time.
Justin Robidoux called up, by the way.
Oh, right.
17 goals, 31 assists in 65 games, so 48 points in 65 games this year with Chicago.
Does that was what kind of sparked all of this? Does that action say you expect Svech to miss some more time than a game or two?
I think it's insurance. You're on the road back-to-back. I think it's insurance just in case. But, I mean,
because right now Tyson Jost would be the next guy in.
But he's already been playing.
Exactly.
Unless Jordan Stahl comes back. But, again, this is insurance as well. Because, again, Jordan Stahl didn't play last night as well.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about that. The Canes are playing very well of late. I don't want to be doom and gloom. What are they now, 13 of 16?
Sounds right.
Am I getting that right?
Sounds right.
They've won 13 of their last 16, which is like bananas good. Like that is be happy. But there are little speed wobbles going on. Like this guy a little banged up, that guy a little hurt, this line, that line. Like there's little things that you just want to be aware of. So I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, and that's why for 2 hours and 45 minutes of this show we were pretty darn optimistic. But then the Svech news shouldn't be overlooked, and you shouldn't miss it just because you were too busy watching Mark Jankowski ground and pound on a cap last night. The energy in the room was pretty up there.
It was kind of wild. It was a fun night last night. By the way, I posted this question out there on our YouTube live chat.
Mm-hmm.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll ask you the same thing, Tim. We've got a couple minutes left here. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your confidence level of the Canes going into the playoffs?
Scale of 1 to 10? Okay.
10 being like full confident, 1 being like,
I'm guessing 10 would be like I'm picking them to win the Stanley Cup.
Basically, yeah.
7.2.
Okay.
They are playing really well right now. I would like to see a few things. I'm still, for whatever reason, and I don't know if this will change anytime soon, until the goalies show me they can do it in the postseason, I'm going to just inherently be nervous. And I do think and part of this is the injuries. They're not super big and heavy, and I'm a little concerned that that's going to, pop its head up and not be a good thing in the postseason. So that's what I'm pulling back. But I do like they're in form, they're playing together, the chemistry looks solid, right? Everybody wants to be there. If I hear that one more time, there's a lot of good going on. So 7.2. What about you?
I'm an 8.
Oh,
I'm at an 8.
8 even?
Yeah,
right.
Solid 8. And that's what a lot of people are throwing that out there on our YouTube live chat, saying 8, solid confidence. People mentioning this team, the way they're playing together right now. But a big question mark is just. Still, can Freddie Anderson be good in the playoffs? Will Freddie Anderson get hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that has happened before.
I mean, if you're just inherently more optimistic about the goalies, I could see you being even over 8. I'm just a little bit more like I'm gonna wait and see on that, which is where I end up on 7.2.
Yeah, I'm at a solid 8. I think the way this team's playing, there's no reason why they can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
There you go.
No reason why they can't.
No, I agree. I mean, and the East is wide open, as you saw last night. Washington is, record-wise all the way up there, and they're beatable, to say the very least. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Overdrive is coming up next. We're going to talk more about the Canes game from last night. We'll start with the hockey side of things. As always, it's crazy time. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful evening, everybody, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. See ya.
Do you ever go to the Carolina Hurricanes games and find yourself thinking, what do the players eat before the game? What are their pregame rituals? What kind of music gets them pumped up ahead of the game? How sacred is the game day nap? What's the postgame mood on the team plane? Check out my new podcast, Iced Tea, with me, Megan LaMontagne. I get to talk to people who spill the tea on the Carolina Hurricanes. Listen to Iced Tea in any podcast app or watch the show on the Fan YouTube channel.
Is your heating and air system ready for the changing season? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and